What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of C-Rod's Tell Me a Story podcast. I'm your host, C-Rod. Let me tell you a story. The scene of this story is a place known as the White City, a place that was made famous by Hollywood in the 40s, Casablanca, Morocco. In this city, there was a family who lived on a rooftop. They were a very close family. They lived on this rooftop until one day the father, through hard work and sacrifice, was able to move them into a home, to a house. After they moved into this home, the mother put her 10-year-old son into a kickboxing class, which brings me to the premise of this story. Some paths could be laid in front of you. It is up to you to follow these paths. This is a story of that 10-year-old kid and how he followed that path. This is the story of Youssef Zalal. All right, back at you with another episode of C-Rod's Tell Me a Story podcast. I'm your host, C-Rod. I'm back at you with another episode. We with Youssef, the Moroccan Devil Zalal. How you like that?
What's up, my man? That sounds good. You should be an announcer, dog. You got me pumped up.
Ready.
You're getting all pumped up now, dog.
So for those of you who don't know, Youssef is a mixed martial artist. He's out of the Denver area. He's fought in the UFC. He just fought a three-fight tournament, boxing, kickboxing, and MMA all in one night, which he luckily won. And he's just going to tell me about his story and about how he became to be in his profession, you know. You were very young to be in the UFC.
Yeah, I think I was the sixth youngest on the roster. I was, what was it, 23? I was 23, yeah.
Yeah, that's so
23,
young.
yeah. So I was super young. Yeah, so it was wild. It was wild.
Yeah, you made it though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, for sure. We make it again though. We'll make it again.
Yeah. So, as you know, here on C-Rod's Tell Me a Story podcast, I just sit down and I listen to stories, and I listen to people's life and how they got things going, and that's what we're here to do today. So let's just jump right into it. So, where you from, my brother?
So I'm from Casablanca, Morocco. If not a lot of people know, but it's in northern Africa. So we're the last country in Africa. It's like right next to Spain. So that's where I was raised and born, and it's almost 50-50. I'm a 50-50 person. So it's like I grew up 13 years in there and then 13 years in the United States. So I always call it 50-50. I'm a 50-50 guy right now. So
yeah.
It's but yeah, that's where I'm from, and that's where I got raised.
You're a Moroccan American.
Hey, I finally got the citizenship, so I'll get into the story when I get into it. But
yeah.
it took a long time, so now I can actually say I'm African American. So before I couldn't say that, because before they said you have to be a citizen to say you're African American.
He's just African.
Yeah, I was just a Northern African. So they're like, I couldn't say that until I got my citizen finally.
What's it like in Morocco?
Oh, bro, it's completely different. At least where I grew up, when I was back in Morocco, I mean, I didn't come here until 2009. So back, like, a lot of things have changed now, right? They're like, the economy's way better. There's a lot of things way better than I was in there. So it was like, what was it, 2009? So I was about 12, 13. So go back to 2006, 2005, right? It's like I was a kid, and my dad had a 3-apartment complex he kind of built for his brothers. So he gave the younger brother in the bottom. The middle was to his older brother, and then we had the top. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so my dad was the first one to go to college. So nobody in the family ever went to college. So my dad used to actually bring people and help them like study and like tutor them and all that stuff. So my dad always had like a business mindset and like a helping mindset and all that stuff. So after, like, when he built that house, that's like us as a kid, we'll just literally come back from school. School's like a 3-minute walk. It was like,
oh, wow.
It's literally right from us. And then the neighborhood can get, it can get dicey, obviously, of course, right? So, but we literally go to school. And then, so the third level in Morocco, we have roofs. So the roofs, you actually can live in the roof. It's not like American roofs like you have just like this.
Yeah.
It's more like an actual roof. Like there's rooms in there. There's everything. Yeah, it's wild. So, me and my three brothers, we had like three L-shaped couches, and that's where we would sleep at. And then my mom, my dad will sleep in the main one, and then my sister would sleep in the same floor as them. So, I never actually had a bed until my dad did his thing with it. So my dad is a software engineer. So that's what I'm saying. He went to college. He's the first one to go to college, do his thing. So he graduated, became a software engineer, and then obviously that was his thing, helping companies and stuff like that. And then one day he built this program, and then these companies didn't want to pay him, or they trying to like betray him type of deal. So my dad decided to like, okay, I'm just gonna pull that program and I'm gonna sell it to people instead of just selling it to that company.
Yeah.
And my dad made a decent enough money to move us all from the apartment to an actual house, and it's like a nicer area too as well, like next to the beach and all that stuff. So I remember this clearly. They come to the house. My mom and my dad come to the house, and we were just chilling upstairs. And then they were like, "Let's go." We're like, "Where are we going?" And then they just drove us 25 minutes to the house, and it was like vacant house. Like there's holes. There was like, because they build a lot with concrete down there. It's not wood, so everything's concrete.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I don't know if you see like those movies and stuff, what the houses like look like they're in a war.
Yeah.
That's what the house looked like.
Oh, wow.
So like they literally had to destroy the whole house and rebuild it. That's how crazy that was. Yeah, so I was like, what the hell are we doing here? I was like,
I don't want to live here.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell are we doing here? I was like, but the houses around was already built. So that's the first one. And my mom and my dad took us in, and they were like, what do you guys think? I'm like, oh, it's good, it's good. This is awesome, man. What's going on? And they didn't tell us nothing until we go back, and then like a couple months later we come back and it's rebuilt. But it still look like there's no paint, there's no nothing. And they bring us back again, and then we go upstairs and we actually look at the rooms, and they were like, pick one. We're like, pick one? What are you talking about? And then so we literally picked one out of the rooms, and then my mom, my dad had like samples of paint, like painted on the wall, and then they're like, tell us pick one. So that was like, I thought they was just playing around or something like that. I don't know what they doing, but that was actually, he was like, that's when we found out like that we're moving into this house. And
When you picked the paint?
Yeah, when we picked the paint and everything. So I was like, wow, I was like, holy shit, I'm about to have my own like room, my own bed, my own closet.
You're living on a roof.
Yeah, it was wild, man. So that was like kind of like a beginning of a success story, if you want to say so,
Yeah, that's a big success.
But at least to my dad, my dad,
really
yeah.
proud.
So it's like, as a kid, I always like, my dad will always literally work from 8 a.m. Don't come back to 9 p.m. every day. So I was like, I remember like as a kid, he'll bring like, one of the times he literally brought a box full of toys, and I'm like, we had this little window. I always look at it when he comes in and park by the house. So I remember that. But I always seen, and I always grew up with like hard work and like really sacrificing a lot for your family, right? And then take care of your family no matter what. So that was my whole thing. So for me, like look at it now, I was like, wow, that was like a big moment for the family, and then the family protection and a lot of stuff, So that was like, you appreciate it way more when you actually, I was a kid. I was just happy that we were somewhere, I was still a bad little kid, but
Yeah.
I was not as bad as, other people's stories, it's like when it comes to fighting and all that, like, which I get into, but it's like, I was not too bad because my dad will beat my ass if I was. So it was like, I didn't get a chance to do that. But, yeah, so that was the beginning of my like growth, it's like it was like step one type of deal. You know what I mean? So like my dad moved the whole family, and then like kind of like got better life for the whole family. So even though like my two brothers, so my family, it's me, my dad, my mom, and then I have two older brothers. One passed away, and then I have the oldest brother, and then I have a sister as well. So to people to know, so that's my family. That's, you know, they had a lot of kids, but we love each other to death, man. But yeah, so that was kind of like step-ish one to our life story, and then to move on from there, right? But same thing. The school, a lot of school in there was like more of a walk this time instead of 3-minute walk. We had to walk. It's about 15-minute, 20-minute walk. It was me and my sister, and my brothers were just doing their thing, but it was me and my sister. We go to that school, and then I remember it's exciting just to go buy a backpack for the first time. That was awesome because I used to wear it's a public school.
Yeah.
But this time we actually went to school that you pay.
Oh, private school.
Private school, yeah. So my dad actually paid for private school for me. My mom and my dad paid for me and my sister to go to private school. And then that public school we used to go to, it's like you wear this blue, it's like suit, just the top, like that's it. Like you had to go there, wear it, and then you go. So it was like, those were like public schools in Morocco. All public schools have that. It's like more of a like a vest, dresses type of deal. You know, it's all the way to like your knee up above your knee. Yeah. So it's like, and I think the girls will wear white.
Oh.
The men would wear blue. I'm pretty sure. That's what I know. I remember I had blue. So I don't know if that was the rule or if you just pick.
But you had blue.
But I had blue. That's all I know.
My favorite color.
Your favorite color?
Yeah, I love
Oh, man. See, I'm the opposite, bro. I love red.
You love red?
Yeah, I love red, bro.
Oh, gang right in.
Yeah, come on. So in Morocco, there is the famous two teams, soccer teams. Yeah. The biggest soccer teams in Morocco. And it's the Raja, it's green. And then Wydad, it's red.
Oh, I see.
And growing up, it was red for me. And then I always liked FC Barcelona too, which they had red and blue. But I was like, I always kind of like darker colors. I don't know why. But
you say you're from, is it Casablanca?
Casablanca, Morocco, yeah.
How big is it?
Oh, it's the biggest city in Morocco, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's huge. Like technically a lot of people say that's the capital, but the actual capital is Rabat. But Casablanca is all white.
Oh, really?
Too, yeah. If you watch that movie Casablanca,
the
whole movie, it's pretty much the same. It's literally all white. It's all white.
In Africa?
Yeah, in Africa, bro. It's like white buildings everywhere, everything. It's crazy, bro. It's awesome. It's awesome, bro. It's and I always like now these days, like whenever I go back to Morocco, it's like you get humbled and like you remember your culture, you remember your heritage, you remember all that. So it's like it hits different, you know. It's like
I know what you're talking
so about. It's good. I like whenever I go back to Morocco and see my mom and see my family and all that stuff. So it's awesome. But
are there Spanish speaking people?
Yeah. So in Morocco, Spain took over. Spanish people took over Morocco, and then I'm not a history major, but I think they fought each other out and all that. But in Morocco, when you go to school, you have to learn not English, French and Arabic.
Oh.
Like it's required. Like, you know how it's required in here to learn English.
So do you speak French?
No, I used to. So that's the crazy part. I used to. Yeah, I completely lost it to learn English. So that was my actual first day in school in America. I was a translator from French to a guy from Cote d'Ivoire. And then I had a guy from Sudan translating to me in Arabic, and I'm translating to him to French. First day of middle school, which is crazy to me.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I was like going to principal's office. I didn't know what was going on, and I was like, what is this? Like, I speak no English, no nothing. And they take me there, and they're like, okay, we want you to translate to this guy, and then this guy. And I was like, okay. So that was my first day. But
so growing up in Morocco, all the way up to 13, right?
Yeah, all the way to 13. Yeah.
What were y'all doing? Would y'all play a lot of soccer or?
Yeah, man. So the fields, we don't have grass. Like usually we don't have grass, but now you can like rent grass, like grass
Rent
fields.
grass?
Yeah, pretty much. Like swear to God, it's the stupidest thing. But you can rent fields to play on.
Okay. Yeah.
But before we didn't. We just find an area that's open area, and it's like dirt. And we put goalies on, and then we bring the neighborhood team from this side, the neighborhood team from that side, and we'll just play each other. We'll put some money down, and then the winner gets to take the money, and we split it between the team.
Really?
Oh yeah, but
Gambling.
I remember how many fights we got into because of that reason. Because guys we'll give the money to one guy, and he's like the bookie basically.
Yeah.
And then the guy runs
With all the money?
with all the money, and then go to his house. So we're all of in his house, like talking shit, throwing rocks, throwing this. So it was like, but yeah, that's like what we used to do. Like I tell people, it was like that's what we did a lot for fun. And then obviously there's a lot of, if you hang out with the wrong people, you're like,
Of course, that's everywhere.
You know, you're like bad. So my mom actually, so we just moved into that new house. And I think like a few years later, my mom decided to put me and my sister into kickboxing. Yeah, it's like right before I turned 10. And then my mom was like, you guys will go kickboxing. I'm like, okay. I was like sports, right? But it's like, it was like weird to me, you know, to like my family, my parents tell me like, okay, this is what you're going to do. So me and my sister, we used to go to school, come back, we'll do our homework, do what we need to do, eat food, and then we'll walk about 14 minutes to go take a taxi. So taxi in Morocco was like $1.
Oh.
$1 would take you to the spot that you like usually.
Like the city bus.
Yeah, you know where you're gonna go, but the white taxi. So there's a white taxi and there's a red taxi.
Oh.
Red taxi is like a yellow cab here. It has the meter. You charge you by the meter, the whatever the drive, whatever it is, right? But the white taxi will just flat fee because he has the spots that he goes to.
Yeah.
He's not gonna take you whatever you want. He just goes to the spots you go to. So sometimes he fits like 6 people, 7 people in the car, and it's a Mercedes, that old Mercedes school,
small car.
Yeah, you know that old school Mercedes. Yeah, technically you're only supposed to fit 4 total, but this one has like 7 or 8 in there. So yeah, it's so me and my sister would be like this in the middle, and we're like small too. So we'll get dropped off, go do kickboxing, and then we'll come back, and it's middle of the night. So like literally we had no time to hang out with anybody. We'll just go school, home, do it again. Back school, home, do it again. So me and my sister actually, we were like committed. Like we were having some fun, you know? It was like,
She was kickboxing too?
yeah, she was kickboxing. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. She had the hijab on, she had the clothes on, and we were going. Like me, I was going, she was going. I was nervous as shit too, you know? And it was like, I think it was like a few months later that we had our first competition.
Oh, wow.
And I was shitting my brains, bro. I was so terrified. Oh my God. It was bad. It was like,
What was your first day like going to kickboxing?
it was like, it's fun, you know? It's like a kid doing something new, and I was like, oh, like, you know, my eyes are open. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome, you know? But the Morocco, when we did the tournament, they had like mats, and then chair in the end, chair in the corner. That's where your coaches would sit, and then you just fight.
Oh, wow.
Right in the middle. No mouthpiece. All I had was gloves. So back then, it's called, have you ever seen the kickboxers? They wear the full pants and kickbox. Yeah, we used to call it full contact, basically full contact.
Yeah.
And then it was, so we were shin guards,
Under the
pants,
pants, right?
yeah, and then pants, and then the pants will go all the way here, no shirt, and then you have your gloves, and then you go at it.
We're like some 7-ounce.
Yeah,
gloves,
well, I don't know, bro. They're like some cheap ass gloves. Like you going to war, bro. It's like, so I was terrified. So I lost that first fight, like decision. Like I was just terrified. So I lost that first fight, and then like me and my sister, we went back. You know, I was like crying and all that, and then like went back home, and then like still like went back to training, wanted to do it again, you know, and me and my sister kept doing the same thing. So when I turned 10, that was so the gym had a in-house tournament. So you come in, they have like 4 poles in the gym, they wrap rope around them, and they make it a boxing ring. Which is wild. It's like the ghettoest thing, but it was like, that's how we grew up, kickboxing. And then they get you gloves, same thing. I got my team, my brother, his couple gangster friends, whatever they call them. I was like right there. They're watching me. So I win, and I remember that feeling. It was like, I was like so super happy. I was like pumped, jumping and all that stuff. And then they jumped up and then like got all hyped and all that. Like I always remember that feeling. I was like, damn, like this is what a winning does to like people. Like it brings people together.
Nice to
like, yeah, I know. So I was like, holy shit. So, and that was like my kickboxing story, right? So like that's why I tell people, I was like, I was never like a bad kid, right? I was like, because I was always afraid of my dad, right? Because don't want to get my ass beat, you know? I was like, I'm not doing that, you know? And like now these days, you know, your kid can do whatever he wants, you know? I was like, you can't really do that. I couldn't do that, you know?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like my dad will discipline me, and then that's like I had to follow the rules and follow the orders, right? So it's like I remember I ditched school one time.
You ditched school?
Yeah, one time. And that's back to when I used to live in the apartment.
Oh, okay.
So, and man, when I tell you I never wanted to do that again, I promise you that. I never wanted to do that again. But so that's the kind of discipline I got, you know, and my brothers got. So it's like I wasn't a bad kid. Like my brothers always wanted me to do good. Which is, I was like, I never really thought about that until you grow up, and then you really like see what your brother's done for you, and then like the amount of push and success they wanted for you. They never want you to have the same life as them, or they want you to have a better life, or whatever it is, you know. So it's like I always appreciated that. I really like, I always take that to the heart, and I always like take that to the grave. You know, that's like, it's most important. Like, what my brother's done for me and for my foundation. Like they made me who I am, and obviously my parents as well, you know? So it's like, but like I said, it's like a lot of people like, you know, they done bad stuff and then they got involved in fighting, and then fighting turns into actual professional fighting. I was never that way.
Like right to fighting.
Yeah.
You started at fighting.
My mom chose the career for me, which is, I always blame her. I was like, you don't want to watch me fight, but you're the one who put me in this. I was like, yeah, I know. She doesn't watch me fight at all. So like, she'll call me after the fight to make sure I'm all right and all that. And then she would like, and then she'll watch it the next day. She would never watch it live. She gets too
anxious.
Like, she never watches it. She just waits. And then my cousins and all that, and back at home, like, because whenever I fight here, it's like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. down there. So like they have to stay up.
Do they?
Yeah, like they literally stay up and watch me and all that. So it's like they get different down there. So that was like, I always tell people, I was like, I never, like, you know, that story about fighters, or like always like I told you before, right? It's like you get involved in fighting, you find a gym, your mom and your dad like, oh, you're angry, you have like fighting issues here, put it out here. And that's when they chose their career. It's like my mom just put me in there just because to stay out of trouble and to not get involved in trouble. So I was like, I never knew that until obviously I grew up, and then I was like, oh no shit, like
turned into a career.
Yeah, like wow, like she actually, they had a plan or something. I don't know, but I don't know if it was luck, whatever, but that was that, you know. So, and I remember this is crazy. This is gonna sound crazy, and a lot of people won't believe this shit, but we were hanging out at the old apartment, and me and my brothers and my cousins were downstairs, and this guy just walks by us at night. Just walks by us. And he walks up to us and he was like, you and you and you and you are gonna go to the United States.
What?
Swear to God.
Randomly?
Randomly. Wow. Just walked up to us. And it was like, your life is about to change. I was like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? Like, this dude is just weird. Like,
who is this weirdo?
Like, for real, you know? Yeah. And then I think, I want to say a year later or 2 years later, my brother and my dad went to the United States. So my brother got in a big trouble of hanging out with the wrong people. And they trying to, like, get my brother involved, and even though my brother's not involved. So my dad was like, fuck this.
We're out.
I'm not going to have him ruin his life, you know? And it's amazing what parents do to their kids, you know, to sacrifices, and like you just had to move your whole life just to go save your son.
Yeah.
Pretty much, you know, which is crazy to me. So my dad did that, and then that was the first time they went to the US. So my brother and my dad was gone. We were talking to them on the phone and all that. But a year later, we decided to want to go with them and go see them.
Were they living here already?
Yeah. So no, they lived in New York.
Oh.
So my dad lived in New York, and then they moved to Colorado after, all in a 1 year period. Or 2 years period. Yeah, 1 year, 2 years. And then we applied for the visa, and it was a process. Like, it's a whole
it takes
process to apply for visa. So I know my mom would all drag us with her to go and all that stuff. So we were like, holy shit, like, we will go from 8 a.m. We don't get back until like 5 p.m.
Damn.
Just to go to the consulate and do all this shit. Yeah, it was wild. And like, we'll come out, eat lunch, and then go back in. I remember this. It was the scariest moment we had. Was we go in, and there's 3 lines, and then there's three people at the windows, and the window 1, window 2, window 3. I remember window 2 was this lady that's like, decline, dude, decline, dude. Swear to God. Every time. Decline. Boom. Next. Decline. Boom. Next.
Oh, my God.
So we were like, please don't get us hurt. Please don't get us hurt. Please don't get us hurt. So thank God we didn't. We went to the other guy, and he asked questions like, where you guys going? We're going to see my brother, my dad. So we got on a tourist visa. So me and my brother who passed away, my sister and my mom, all got approved, and then we went to New York. Flew to New York to Colorado to see my family. And that was in 2009, September 2009. I remember that. Stamped right on my passport. The old passport.
That's when you came. Huh?
First time I ever came to the U.S. right there. That was 2009. I think it was like a few days before my after my birthday. So I think September 9th. I was September 4, my birthday. So like, come here. I see the snow for the first time in my life.
Oh, ain't no snow.
Yeah,
in Morocco,
right? What? Not like if you go to the mountains and stuff, yeah, right.
Yeah.
But ain't no like snow like here, you know. Yeah. So I come here, like, get out, and I'm touching the snow. I'm like rubbing it on my face. I'm like, no, don't do that. That's disgusting. I was like, I don't care. I was like just grabbing it. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy, you know. But that was the first day in Morocco, and like seeing my brother, seeing my dad. I remember that. It was like, we were all happy. I was happy, you know. I haven't seen my dad for a year.
It was a whole year that he
had been gone. my dad and my brother. So, and like, things were different, you know. You're like, my dad had a $500 Kia that he bought. We always had to get him out of the snow every time with that car. Yeah, that Kia, small. It was like 500 shift too. But so he had an apartment that he was renting. I remember that. It was at Peoria, Mississippi. It's like still there till this day. And I remember just going to the stores was different, like King Soopers.
Yeah.
You scan your own stuff, and I was like, what? I was like, what is this? And then like all this. So that was new to me, you know. But I think 2 months later, it's time to go back. And then my mom walked up to me and my brother who passed away, and she was like, I think you guys should stay here. It's better for your future. And we're like, okay. I was like, I don't know. I was like, all right, whatever you think. Like, as a kid, I didn't know. And my sister went back with my mom.
So now it's just
You,
dad and
me,
your
my
brothers?
dad, and two brothers. Yeah. So all sleeping on the floor too. It got the beds, three beds, floors, and my dad was sleeping in the living room, and then that was that. You know, there's four of us. I remember I went to school, middle school. My dad put me in middle school. Because I walked into the high school, and then middle school was right next to it. So I went to Overland High School, and then Prayer Middle School, whatever it's called, just right next to it. So we were actually accidentally in the high school, so we almost signed up for high school. And then
At 13?
yeah, and then the guy was like, no, I would recommend you go to next door and have him, because he was the second semester already, so I already missed the first semester. So the guy was like, you should put him in middle school, like he'll learn English, and then he'll just move on next year to the freshman as a high school. So that's what we ended up doing. So it was me and my brother did that, and then we went to high school together. My other brother was going to a completely different high school. My older brother.
Okay.
So it was me and my brother. We went to Overland, and then so it's 4.5 years later. Still didn't see my mom.
Wow.
Yeah, like, it gets crazier. So 4.5 years, like I'm still no mom, no nothing. Still in high school. 2014, I graduated high school. Me and my brother graduated high school, and still no mom. Like, I haven't seen my mom yet, and all that stuff. And right before high school, my dad, they couldn't approve his software engineer degree.
Oh, he had to get another one, right?
Yeah, he had to literally go for another one in English.
Yeah.
So my dad was working a warehouse job in the cold, lifting. It's Shamrock, the company Shamrock. I think they're still on, right? I think they still have the
It's like
company.
a gas company.
Yeah, or I don't know what it is, but so he would literally stock cold stuff in the fridge.
Oh, I see.
All day, food, all day. And he used to work at night. That's why I said, I remember it was 2 a.m. We had to come outside and basically move the car out of the snow because he was so stuck. And he would drive out of there and then come back. And then I tell people, I was like, whenever my dad will save some money and have enough money, you know, people go buy nice things or go to dinners and all that. Us was Golden Corral. Golden Corral was...
yeah,
yeah,
boy. Yeah, you know, I know what you're talking about there.
So Golden Corral was like, okay, we got some money to spend.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That was that. So my dad would take us that, and then the apartment's right here. Golden Corral was across of us. So that's why the only way we went to it, because of that reason.
Just walk over there.
Yeah, we just walk over there, and then we were like, oh shit, you can eat whatever you want.
All you can eat.
All you can
yeah.
eat. You know, everybody else like, let's go, let's get it. So that was that, and I tell people, I was like, my diet was literally cereal, and then it was chicken bologna or it was like turkey meat. And white bread. That's it. That was that was our meals for until I go to school. And then school was it was like $3 for lunch until I got until I got approved for free. So I was just walk in and get like pizza and milk and whatever side of fruit they have. So I look forward to those days because I was like, oh wow, I get to have like some good food, you know. But yeah, so that was kind of like the whole story. But my mom, I think I was in junior high school. It was a gym across the like literally my apartment's right here. It's across, and it was American Top Team.
Oh, okay.
It was American Top Team in Denver. It was ran by Bobby Lashley.
Oh.
So he's the heavyweight champion WWE.
Yeah, but he's a martial artist too.
Yeah,
he has quite a few fights.
Yeah, he did a lot of pretty good fights too. So I was like, he was like a big name, and I was like, I walked in. I remember this day. It was me, my brother, and my dad. We walk in, and he used to be the manager, so he used to run and train at the same time.
Oh.
So we walk in, and he's already going through a hard workout. Finally done, he comes sit down and talk to us, explains to us everything. And I remember he was still sweating. nonstop sweating, nonstop sweating, nonstop sweating. So the guy comes in with a towel, rubs his head, clears the sweat, and then goes, and then comes back. That's how sweaty he was every
my
time.
God.
Yeah, he was wild. So I was like, holy shit, like I'm not doing this shit. Fuck no. I was like, hell no. And I see all these cages and stuff, you know. My family always thought like until somebody dies or something for the MMA. So I was like, no, it's not. There's rules, there's judges, there's referees, there's all that. So I was like, little, you know, worried for a second. I was like, fuck no, I'm not doing this.
This looks crazy as shit.
Yeah, I'm not doing this. But we looked at the numbers and all that, and my dad couldn't afford it. He was like, we're not doing this. So I think it was a year later, my dad got his software engineer degree in America, and finally got a good job that can actually afford for us to train.
Yeah.
So still at the apartment, my dad finally bought a house in America. Finally bought a house, and then American Top Team moved from this one, this small little location, to a huge location. And they had like, I'm talking like they had a wrestling ring, they had a boxing ring, they had a cage, they had bags, they had a whole mat. Huge area. Huge area, yeah. So my dad's like, still wanted to train type of deal, and we went back and we actually signed up for the first time. So now I was
still
like,
in high school, right?
Still in high school, junior year, about to go to senior. And I remember this exactly, like I did jiu-jitsu for the first time, and I was like, what the fuck is this? What is this? People hugging each other, grabbing each other, all this. And I was like, you know, I used to do that with my brothers, you know, but I was like, what the hell is this? And like, I'm getting tapped from left to right. They taught me how to tap. And then they're like, whenever you get hurt, just tap. And I was like, okay, no problem. And I was just like tough kid, you know. I was like, oh yeah.
Were you speaking fluent English?
Yeah, I was speaking fluent. So I spoke fluent English 6 months. After 6 months.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
How?
Just bro. It was just middle school. They taught me. It was like apple. Show me a picture of an apple. Apartment. Show me a picture of an apartment. And that's literally. And I tell people this is how crazy it is in school for me. Was I go ELA classes, which is I think it's English language. Can't remember what's the other one. Like basically they teach you English.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. And this is in high school, and then I go from there straight to English 9. Oh. So I learned how to write a sentence and then go write an essay, which is crazy, all in the same day, which is wild, right? But I had tough. More. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough, bro. It was like super rough. Like
6 months is really fast, though.
Yeah, like I communicate with people after 6 months, you know. But yeah, so that was that. You know, I was like, we moved into the house, and then my dad put me into actually back to training. So I would go same thing. I would school, come out. My dad would drop me off, pick me up from school, drop me off, go train, come back, do the same thing again. And I remember 6 months in, no, not 6 months in, like 3 months in, I did my first jiu-jitsu tournament.
How'd that go?
Oh my God. So they put me in no-gi, and he was all wrestlers too. When I'm talking like I got destroyed. I got tapped in the first one. Second one, I just tapped like 30 seconds. So my dad's like, I don't know if I want to put this kid into this sport, blah, blah, blah. You know, I started doing this, started doing that. So at age 16, I was 16 years old. My coach put me into kickboxing. I had my first, I still have a picture of it. I gotta send it to you. It was like, I was like tiny, happy little kid, getting my hand wrapped. I was like this. And then I was like, no haircut, curly hair. Hairline was all over the place. I had curly hair. I was darker too. It was like, because I came from Morocco, like still like.
Probably playing outside more.
Exactly, you know? So I was like, what the fuck? You know? And then at 16, they put me, I think it was like a bantamweight junior belt.
Oh, wow.
My first fight, yeah. So they put me in there, and it was this kid, like, white dude, big. They're like, yeah, he's gonna kill this kid. Like, he's gonna kill me. And I was like, all right. So I go in, and my dad comes in, and he was like, are you sure? To my coach, because he had to sign for me to fight.
Wait.
I couldn't just fight. Yeah, I couldn't just fight. You had to come in, sign a waiver, send it back. Like the promotion called just bang. That's how old school this shit is. You know, it's like just bang. Like
Just bang.
just bang. And it was all the way in Colorado Springs.
Oh, okay.
So we go in. First time I go in and I actually just beat this guy up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just beat this guy up, and I remember still have that video, and I just literally just beat the guy up, and then my dad got all happy. He came in and paid the gym and got me all pumped up and all that, and like that was all kickboxing. I had another fight, won that one. I had another fight, won that one. So I was 3-0 going in, you know, and then I remember I had my first loss. It was against my old teammate. And we did no shin guards. It was just headgear and gloves. Yeah, I lost the decision. And then my dad comes back in the back. He's like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. You did good, and all that stuff, you know? And then, so that was like all kickboxing. Still in school, still doing kickboxing. Didn't really take it that serious because I didn't know if this was going to be my thing. I thought I was going to be in college and
Something else.
yeah, do all that, you know, but started hanging out with the right friends, you know, like my teammate now is Austin Jones, hanging out with him. He gives me rides and all that stuff. So I remember me and my brothers after graduation. So I'm still fighting graduation. We literally just go work on an under table job, get some cash. It was landscaping. No insurance. The dude came up to us, was like, sign this paper. It was an empty paper, nothing in it. He just wanted our signature to say, hey, if anything happens to you, you cover yourself.
Oh, I see.
Which is the stupidest thing, you know? But I was like, whatever, you know? We're just here to make some money, you know? So, yeah, so we literally just go there and go straight to, my brothers will go back. I go straight to the gym, come back to the house, do the same thing.
So you graduated high school?
Yeah, 2014.
So
me and my brother.
I always ask this question. If I went back and I found somebody you went to high school with, and I said, what kind of guy was Youssef in high school? Who was he? What would they tell me?
Oh, God. A comedian, a fucking high energy. That was me all day, you know?
Class clown?
Oh, class clown for sure. That was, oof. I was bad in high school, bro. I got bad in like junior, senior. So my poor teachers, I feel bad. But yeah.
Talking back to your teachers?
Oh, yeah. I was bad, bro. It was not good. It was not good. I remember in middle school though, my first ever fight was in middle school.
Yeah, with who?
This dude from Peru came up to me and just started talking shit. I didn't understand what the fuck he was saying. I didn't speak no English.
Oh, you just got here.
Yeah, I just got here. And the dude just like talking shit. So I remember I literally just headbutted him in his nose and he started bleeding. And then I remember I got suspended.
Yeah.
And my dad picks me up. He had to get out of work, come pick me up, take me back to the house. Fucking losing it on me. And I was like fucking just sitting in the room, close the door and staying in my room, not saying shit. So I remember that was my first fight. And then in high school, I was in a PE class and we were playing basketball. And then I threw the basketball and it hit the rim and it hit the dude's glasses and broke them. So this dude pulls up on me in the locker room and starts swinging. I didn't know what to do. I was just defending. You know, I was just like this. So I always kind of like wanted to do something, you know. I was like, oh, let's go. That type of deal, you know. But that was like my only two fights. And then I'm in like a year into training in junior. I go in my senior year. This kid wants to fight me. And then we go behind the football. And I'm talking like my class. I was late to my class too. I showed up late because of that fight. But I go in the back and I just literally hit him, take him down, just beat him up again.
Yeah.
And then he was all bleeding and all that. Like I had some experience behind me now and all that. And then that was my last ever fight outside. Never fought outside since then. I was like, kind of remember that. And then even my coach told me, my old coach, which is one of my mentors, he was like, if you fight outside, I'll never coach you again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's like, I teach you this for self-defense and teach you how to become a better man, not
to hurt people.
Yeah, not to hurt people. That's not what we're doing. And he always wanted me to do better, So that was the one thing that he always pushed for me. So I couldn't fight outside because I was so scared that he would never, if he finds out, he would never coach me again.
Yeah, well, that was a good thing.
Yeah, so it was, yeah, man. So that was like my kind of teenager. Still haven't seen my mom till this day. Like, not till this day. Like that day.
Yeah.
To that 2014, I graduated. Still haven't seen my mom.
Wow.
So I was like,
do you talk to her?
Yeah, like talk to her on WhatsApp. My dad had like a little PC in there. Like we would Skype call sometimes and all that. And it was, like I missed most of my sister's growth years. 10 years. I haven't really.
Wow.
Yeah. So, excuse me. Yeah, man. So it was like, that's like my teenager world. That was my, like after we graduated, it was like literally we go home, wake up, same thing, go work, I go train, come back, work, come back. That's it. It was like, thought I was going to go to college. I was still, let me rewind this. I was still illegal technically.
Yeah.
Because I overstayed my visa. Mm-hmm. So I have no papers. I have no social security number.
Can't go to college.
Can't go to college. I can't go work.
Jesus.
So me and my brothers, we couldn't do that. So we were like, fuck, So that goes on and on and on. And then at, was it 2009? No, not 2009. 2015. I was sleeping in my bed. I remember my brother passed away, tells me, leave the door open. I'm like, don't lock it, unlock it, because my dad's old house you used to walk in, and the basement is straight there. Instead of like, some place you gotta walk and then go to the basement. And then the main floor was just straight ahead. Yeah. So all those 3 kids were downstairs. So my brother had his girlfriend, or his wife, I should say, in the basement. It was, my brother was in this room, I was in this room across him. My brother passed away. And then I just sit in my room, he does his room. And then I get shaken up out of my sleep, waking up. Youssef, wake up, wake up, wake up. I was like, what? Your brother's on the street. There's an accident. I was like, what? So to get to my dad's house is right here. The street is right here. You have to make a U-turn to come to my dad's. You can't go anywhere from here. You have to make a U-turn to come here. So I go, okay, no problem. So I go in, and there's a guy laid out in the street, and then the car is flipped. This is right next to the house. And then it was my brother that had a couple drinks, and then they let him drive, and then had the car, made the turn too fast. Flip. Like he was literally a minute away from the house. Not even 50 yards away from the house. That's all he took.
You ran outside and you could see.
Well, the guy woke me up, and I went outside, and because he had no seatbelt. So when the car flipped, his friend. So when the car flipped, his girlfriend still had a seatbelt. Oh. So she was fine. But he got launched out of the front shield and hit his head and died. Yeah. So that was like my like a rough. I was 18.
Did you run out to the scene?
19. Yeah. I was the first one.
Oh no.
And then my dad, my brother came up and all that, and then that was the whole thing. We stayed up.
Conscious?
No, he was dead.
Oh, instant.
Yeah. So it was me and my brothers. I think this was like 3 a.m. We stayed up till like, God, it was like friends come over the next day, the next morning, everybody, and I was still like, whenever I go through, like when I'm sad or when I'm not doing well, something like that, I was just quiet. Just silence. Which is weird, For me, I'm like, I like to speak a lot, but yeah. I just couldn't, I was just speechless. I was just like the whole 3 months, to be honest, But that's when I was like, almost like committed suicide. On my way to commit suicide. On my dumbass thought I was just gonna grab some pills, like overdose on Tylenol or something. I don't know what it was. I just grabbed whatever I can find, and I went downstairs and I had the pills in my hands, and I had people come downstairs and like kept talking to me and like, just trying to keep me on the right road, I should say. But so that was kind of like a very bad, depressing 3 months, 4 months of my life. Yeah. Like I would sleep till like 2 p.m., wake up, go train, come back, do it again. That was my life.
Your family seems like you're all really close.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, this is what I tell people is like, I wish I was closer. Like the regrets that you have, that was like one of the regrets, because we were never picture family. We always eat together. We always talk to each other. We always take care of each other. We always have each other's back no matter what. But we were never like, I remember like I always wanted to look for a picture of me and my brother. And the only ones I can find is me and him young, or when I won my first title in kickboxing. That's the only one, and it's a blurry picture.
Yeah.
That's the only one. So my friend actually made me an art with my brother I have at the house. That's just him. That's his picture.
Is it art, like a drawing?
Yeah, like a drawing. It's just him. That blurry picture, they put it into art, and
that was cool.
That I have that, yeah. So that was only that. Like that was like my one regrets of life. It's like I would love to not just spend more time. It's more of making memories. Yeah. If you know what I mean, like, and have it like physically. I remember the memories that I did with my brother and all that stuff. It's like it gotten better, right? Like just emotionally talking about it gotten better. It's like fucking breakdown every time I talk about it. But it's like it gets better. It's like you start learning like everything happens for a reason, but it's like why does it have to happen to my brother? A young age and all that. So
how old was he?
24, 25.
Baby.
Yeah. It's young, man. It was bad. It was like very depressing for me, at least. I mean, my mom, we haven't seen my mom for still.
She didn't get to come for the funeral, or?
Till this day, she hasn't gotten to the U.S. to see him yet. To this day. So we were working on her getting her visa, because that's her wish, to come see her son.
I bet.
Yeah, so it's like where were we? Like, I think it was like 7 years not seeing my mom so far.
Yeah.
So it's like fucking wild, bro. It's like a roller coaster for me. I was like 3 months I didn't even go train. Like I went train the next week, and then I had the support from my coach, my mentor, and Austin and all those guys kind of helped me out a little bit, But that was a rough time for me. It was like super, super depressing, and that's like my whole motto in life. It's like not just helping kids and like families and all that, it's like you just don't know when shit can change. You really don't.
Yeah.
It's like you can be fine and then something happens in your family.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like for me, I was like be you, do you, right? And try to make as many memories as you can in your life, It was like, because when I die, I was like, I've done everything I possibly can. I've been good to people. I've been good to my family. I've been good to my partner. I've been good to whatever I've done in my life. I'm happy to say like I've done what I needed to do, So that's why, like, for me to leave my kid or anything that, for me, I was like, I wanted to have that. But, it's a very motivational story for me. And it's more of, I have to do something that really put all my life and my effort and everything, because of that reason of one mistake that happened. Again, it's like I told you in the beginning, your brothers always want you to do better.
Yeah.
They never wanted me to go out. They never wanted me to do this. They never wanted me to do that. And like, there's always these things they never wanted me to do because I was the younger kid, you know? They're like, no, you're not doing this. No, go do your thing. So I always appreciated that, you know? And when I lost my brother, I was like, I have no other choice but to follow this type of, you know, this is my
he
dream.
wanted for you.
Yeah, what all of them wanted from me, not even just my brother, you know? It's like, everybody wants me to like, hey, this is the fighter, the house. This is the guy. This is the champ. You know how they talk. You know, they're like, this is the champion right here. This is this that. You know, and I was very 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 like motivated and like had a purpose. You know, I have go do something. You know, and I remember 18. I was 18. Did my first MMA fight. Go in there, finish the guy.
Amateur or pro?
Amateur. This is all amateur. Because I couldn't do MMA until I was 18.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Because Colorado apparently has that rule. I don't know if they changed it anymore, but the rules like you have to be 18 to fight MMA. And yeah, so I did MMA, started fighting. I remember.
Tell us about your first fight.
Oh, bro. So my coach comes up to me and he's like, hey, I have this fight for you. It's my amateur debut. He's like, you going against this guy from Trials, which is another big gym in Colorado. And he's like, he's a jiu-jitsu guy. I was like, okay. Bro, I go in the first round, and it was outside. We fought outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the like outside theater. Wildest shit ever. Like, I remember they had us in a trailer. That was our warm-up room. So my coach was smart enough. He was like, no, let's warm up outside so you can get used to the same feeling outside. I was like, oh, no problem. Everybody else was warming up in the trailers, which is cold and cool. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So we go in there. I remember walk out of there, first round, moving. I hit a head kick and I slipped.
Oh.
And the dude just full on jumped on me. And I'm talking, when I got hit so hard from the top that my head hit the canvas and I was like, holy shit, oh my God, this is happening. Yeah, that type of deal. I was, oh my God. So I survived the first round, like literally survived the first round. And then second round goes in, and then I remember my coach is telling me, my coach, and he was my coach in Austin, was in my corner. And he was like, this dude is terrified to strike with you. Terrified. Go finish him. And I remember I come out, boom, head kick, to finished him.
KO with that kick?
Yeah, well, KO and then finished him on the ground with the hands. And then that was a TKO, finished him. So I was like, I was all happy. I was all pumped. I remember my dad, my brother, and his friends holding the Moroccan flag. They, again, just remember that feeling I told you in the beginning, the winning. It's the same thing. They were like all pumped up, all hyped up and all that stuff. So I was super, super happy about that. So that was my welcome to MMA.
Yeah.
That was my first fight.
How many amateur fights did you have?
I had 5. I was 4-1. So so I remember I was 4 in the fourth one. After the fourth one, the American Top Team was closing down.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's their third location now. So in the first one, I couldn't go in because my dad couldn't afford. We went to the second one, and then they closed that, and then they go to a smaller one next to 24 Fitness. So I was like, holy shit, like, I don't know if this is going to work out, but whatever. So Bobby just didn't have enough time because he was traveling too much, doing this too much, doing that too much. Yeah. So my head coach was like, there's no way I can do it. Like, I can't run the whole gym by myself. That type of deal. So my coach used to train with Mark Montoya.
All right, back at you with our break with our guest today, Youssef Zalal, the marketing devil. So he was just telling us about how he was American Top Team shrinking their gyms, huh?
Yeah, it was like, I'm talking like, I think they went from like 10,000 square feet to, I think it was more than 10,000 square feet actually, to like, I want to say not even 2,000 square feet.
Oh, the size of this basement.
Yeah, like literally the size of this basement.
Wow.
Like I think it may even be smaller than this basement.
And they had some top guys there, didn't they? Like UFC.
No, not in Colorado. Didn't.
Oh.
Colorado, there was no UFC. It was just Bellator. It was Bobby and my head coach.
Oh.
So those were the only two guys that were fighting. Me and Austin were just locally. We were fighting for Sparta. We were doing a lot of things. We were fighting at the Grizzly Rose. We were doing all this stuff in there.
Did somebody introduce you to Mark?
So no, actually my head coach, he's the one who used to hit mitts with Mark, and he walked up to me. I remember before he closed down and brought me and Austin. He was like, "Listen, I don't think this gym is gonna stay open, and I want you guys to have a better future. You should start looking for an MMA gym." And then he walked up to me and he was like, "Hey, I know you're a striker. This is the gym you should go to, which is Factory X." And I was like, shit, okay. So what me and Austin used to do with, I don't know if you remember, they had a muscle farm down here.
Yeah.
Like that gym they opened up. Yeah. So
TJ Dillashaw with them?
they brought TJ, they did all that. So it was me and Austin will go spar there Saturday, and then we'll alternate. 1 week muscle farm, the next week was Friday for Factory X. And then we kept alternating. And it was just like the vibe of Factory X and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm going to go here. And then he went there as well. And then obviously the rest is history. But that was after my fourth fight as an amateur. Third fight. After my third fight, excuse me. After my third fight as an amateur, that's when I moved in with Factory X. And my coach, they closed the gym, which he was right. The gym got shut down and all that stuff. So he moved down with his life. I moved down with my life. And then, I mean, obviously he's still in Denver, but he's actually the head jiu-jitsu program for Easton. He's their black belt. So he loved jiu-jitsu. He always never wanted to fight, to be honest. Stuck with fighting, but he always nonstop about jiu-jitsu. So that was his path. He chose jiu-jitsu. So I chose fighting, and me and Austin did. So literally, it was like first weekend, I remember I'm sparring Brandon Royval in the cage.
Beast mode.
Oh my God, bro. I'm talking, and that's when I used to have like a Dominic Cruz style too. So I used to move all over the place. And then I remember he had a black eye. I get submitted. I get a knot on top of my head. Like it was war. Oh my God. So I remember that exactly. And then, so we were like, first weekend, Mark was like, "Do you like it?" Started talking to us, and we're like, "Yeah." So we signed, and that's when we started training at Factory X. So that was that. But right before Factory X, after like the 4 months, my brother passing away, Austin hit me up, and he was like, "Hey, I think you should come with me to this party at a bar. It's my sister's birthday party." And I always ate dinner with his whole family. So I know his whole family, and I was like, he just wanted me to get out and have some fun. And I don't drink. Till this day, I don't drink. I never drank in my life. And
that's a good thing.
Yeah, so I'm like, I just do my thing, But so he actually took me in, got me into the bar. I'm just hanging out, talking to Austin and his sisters. That's it. That's all I cared about, I was a little young kid, like not even dressed up well or nothing. So I was like, whatever, But I remember Austin introduced me, which is my wife now, her friend and my wife. They were talking, introduced me, and they were drinking and everything, and they wanted to drive, and I was like, "Fuck no, you're not driving. I'm driving you." And I had no license, no nothing, so I was like, I made sure. Till this day, it was like, if I'm out with you and you're drinking, you're not driving. There's no way. I don't care if you had just one drink, you're not driving.
Yeah.
And unless I know you can drive. But I'm talking that night was like from, bro, it was like 10 p.m. all the way to 5 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I was like literally just driving everybody, make sure everybody's safe. They went from this bar to this bar to that strip club to this.
Club hopping.
Yo, bro. So I'm like, I don't know. This is my first time, bro. I was like, what the fuck is going on here, you know? But yeah, so I was like, literally took everybody home. Like I drove everybody. And I was like, I'm not doing this. So in the end, it was my girl's car. Obviously, I was driving my girl's car. And then that was her at her last stop. And she was like, you can stay here. The next day you go. And then, so I ended up, she thought I had a car or something, but she dropped me off. But I got her number and all that stuff. And the rest was history about that. But I remember I used to lie because I used to take the bus. So I was like, yeah, I'll meet you at this restaurant.
You didn't want her to know?
Yeah, hell no, I did not want her to know, bro. I was like, no. So I remember I was like, I'll take the bus and I'll meet her there. So our first date was a breakfast date. And my dumb ass showed up there and I was like, I thought I was going to be slick. I thought she was going to give me a ride back. She's like, no, I got to go. I'll see you later. And I was like, fuck. So I had to take a walk all the way to the bus and take the bus back home and all that stuff. So
you didn't want to say, hey, I took the bus, actually.
Yeah, I don't want to say that. And I was like, fuck, you know. But yeah, so that was like, I remember I always to like, because my whole life I was like, for the first 2 years with Factory X, I used to take, so I would go from my dad's house, take the bus to the 9 Mile station. And then the 9 Mile station, I'll take the train to one train and then take another train all the way to, I don't know if you know that Oxford car wash by the gym.
Yeah, I do.
So that's where the train stops for me. And I would walk that 1.5 miles or whatever that every day. I used to do that every day. So before we had 2 practices a day, we had the morning and the night.
Yeah.
So I would literally go there in the morning and just stay there all day. Because I don't want to go back 2 hours and then go back again.
Yeah.
So I remember I used to sneak in with Coach at Landau. I used to sneak in with him and then he'll buy me lunch. Because I didn't have no food with me. And then that's like when I had lunch. So I always sneak in with him. He always take care of me and that. He always buy me lunch. He bought me food and stuff like that. It's kind of, he was like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm just laying down. He's like, come with me. And then I go watch him train and then we'll go to Landau together. He drives me and then he stops at lunch and then goes in. Even though when he's busy, sometimes he just stops at lunch. So that was that, you know. It's like for like first 2 years with Factory X, you know. I go in, I lose my first amateur fight with Factory X, and then go into the second time I made weight, beat the guy, and then we're like, oh, we're going pro. And that's when he told me we're going pro, and then that's when we went pro. But before that, Mark was like, hey, you want to teach? Yeah. And that's when I started making a little bit more, like he started giving me money, basically like $300, $400 a month. And I remember I used to spend it on Uber because I just didn't have rides. So I was like, I'll just drive Uber. And like, till this day, my most money I spend is either savings or food. That's the only thing I spend. I was like, I love till this day. Even my wife, she was like, I wish you would go shopping more, or do something more.
Save that money.
I was like, no, I don't care. I was like, I don't care about clothes. All my shoes are fake. So like, I really don't care, bro. I was like, I'm not spending $400 on a shoe or something like that. I'm good, man. I was like, for me, it's more like I'm like, I like my money. Like spend my money. It's like either a house, my car. I really love my car. It's like
something important.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I was always been a car person. You know, I know it's not the best investment, you know, but
got a nice car though.
Yeah, but I love that car, bro. It's like it brings you joy driving that thing every day, you know. And that's what I remember. I told my girl, so once I get to that story, it was like my pro debut, right? It got all messed up. I was supposed to fight pro debut, but I ended up cutting weight with one of the open students, one of the girls. And she never cut weight before. So I'm sitting there. I mean, she fought. She's not like she didn't fight. She fought. But she never like actually go through a weight cut with a person that's cutting a lot, you know? So I was there. I pass out and I wake up right away. I wake up, found out she already called the ambulance. She already called the I don't know. I think you remember that. I think you were there. Yeah. So she called the ambulance. She called the promoter. She called everything. without even asking or anything.
Freaked her out.
Yeah. So I'm like literally 2 minutes later, or 5 minutes later, I get a call from Mark. Fucking losing it. Where the fuck you at? I'm right here. Come to the gym. I get to the gym. I'm sitting back to the sauna, cutting weight, and then found out they canceled the fight. So Mark is pissed, and I had to show up the next day as a Friday. That's where I was sparring day, if you remember. Yeah. And he brought me in. We were sitting all in the cage, and fucking was like, learn from your fucking teammates type of deal and all that. So I'm sitting there, and I was like, fuck. So that's when I apologized to the team and all that. So 6 months later, then I fought my first fight, my actual pro fight. So I thought I was gonna be like, oh man, I'm about to have my first pro fight. I'm about to make 750, 750. I was all pumped up and all that, you know. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to do that until 6 months after that. I remember I had my pro debut, and wow, and actual the Sparta fight that I just had, the 3 fights, it was the exact same date as my pro debut.
Was it?
Exact the same date. Wow. 3 years ago. No, 7 years ago, 6 years ago.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Fuck, we're getting old.
I know, bro. It's crazy, bro. So it was literally exact pro debut from that. So I always like how brought me memory, and I was like, holy shit! Like,
tell us about your pro debut.
Oh, bro, I went in, and it was this hotel by. It was actually by my dad's house too. I can't remember what the hotel called. But I go in, make weight, no problem. I was working with a nutritionist, which I still work to this day with. Made weight, is a bigger guy, is a power guy. So this guy was knocking everybody out as an amateur, putting everybody to sleep and all this. So like I was super nervous too, you know. But I was like, fuck, he's gonna take my head off. But I remember going in there and just outclassing this kid, you know, outstriking him, cut him open with an elbow. I remember you could throw elbows and knees and stuff like that. And I ended up submitting him in the 3rd round. So I was like super pumped, you know. I was on top of the world. My girl met my family for the first time that day. She snuck in a tequila bottle.
Oh no!
So she can get fucked up. She doesn't remember this. I was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, really? This is what you gotta do? Yeah. But I remember that's her first day meeting my family. That was that day. And then, and which is crazy, my 3rd fight, third pro fight, that was the first time meeting her family.
On your 3rd one? My
3rd one.
They knew about you though, right?
Yeah, they knew about. I met him at basically a wedding, her brother's wedding.
She took you to her brother's wedding too.
Yeah. So listen to this. It was like she had a date that didn't work out, and I walk in. She introduced me to her family, and her family was always like I don't know, you sure? A fighter and this and that, and I started cooking with her mom. Her mom loved me. Her dad's like still a little suspicious, you know. Yeah. But I remember to this day, it's still now he's like a little bit suspicious, but he knows how much I care about his daughter and take care of his daughter, you know. So he's like, they always appreciated that, you know. So I remember I go in there, first time ever meeting him, and I remember I got invited to the wedding there, like while eating dinner. You should come to dinner, and I was like, you should come to the wedding. And I was looking at my girl. She was like,
say no.
I guess you're going to the wedding. So I remember I dressed up, but I took a short notice fight. So the teammate that beat me in the kickboxing fight, that was his fight. And a lot of people don't know, it's Phil Gonzalez.
Oh, Phil.
Yeah. So Phil.
That's right. You fought.
I ended up training with him. And that was like.
Feels great.
Yeah. He's like an amazing guy. You know, I was like, so he was cutting weight. He had a weight cut problem, you know, health problems. Like there's health issues and all that. So again, I was with Mark Landau, and I was watching his phone. He's like, let me know if anybody calls, because we had 6 people fighting. Or 7, I think. Yes, 6 or 7, something like that. So I get a call from John Allen, They said, hey, this what happened, blah, blah, tell coach. And then I remember we about to leave Landau, and my old manager was with me too. And Mark, my old manager, can't remember who else. And then he was like, and I just fought 3 weeks ago. And then they're like, hey, you want to take this fight? I said,
let's go.
Fuck it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Bro, when I'm saying I was scared to fucking, oh my God. I was the most terrifying decision I ever made. And then I remember coach was telling me, like, Youssef, you don't have to take this. We're not forcing you to take this. You don't have to take this. If you want it, please let us know. I'm like, no, I'll take it. They called his team. They accepted it right away. Well, I was like, holy shit. They think they're going to walk through me or some shit. So they took it right away. And then just went straight to the sauna, started cutting weight. It was at a 55. Oh. And I was at 160. The dude already made 145. But he hydrated back to 55.
Yeah.
And he looks drained. Like he's a big guy. And then I remember I go in, I cut 55, driving in the car with the heater on, with the sauna suit on. I ended up being like 52 or 53. I was like, you motherfuckers, you made me cut extra. So I'm already pissed, you know? And then I called my dad. I was like, hey, I'm fighting tomorrow. He's like, what? You fighting tomorrow? What the fuck? I was like, no, I'm fighting tomorrow. Here's your ticket. See you tomorrow. So I always give my family tickets. Like, hey, see you tomorrow. And then he's like, holy shit, no way. And I told my girl, I was like, hey, I'm fighting. She's like, I can't go. So her family lives in Boulder. The fight was at First Bank Center. Yeah. And then her family, she was like, they had the dinner rehearsal. Oh. So she can't come. Yeah. So I go up, fight, beat this dude. I was so terrified, bro. I have a picture. I remember he was so taller than me that I was looking up. And then go in. He's so big. First 10 seconds of the fight. Overhand, right top of my head. I was gone for 10 seconds. I tell people, I don't know if you ever play Call of Duty. It's like a flash grenade. Yeah. Throw the flash grenade. That was me, bro. Literally that motion. I wake up and specifically coach told me, do not go in the ground with this guy. Like, oh shit, okay. I literally kind of like get my, I'm back to like normal and the dude's on my back. Oh, wow. Full hooks in. Oh. Triangle, body triangle on me. I'm like fighting. Yeah. And slowly I'm starting to get down. And then all I hear my jiu-jitsu coach, get up, no, stay up. So I'm staying up. And thank God I did. Because if I didn't, I would have been in a deeper problem. I'm pretty sure I would. And then slowly I felt his leg slowly started breaking.
You got tired.
And I was like, oh my God. I think I threw like 30 knees to the head. I swear to God. That fight, the whole fight, flying knees. And I ended up finishing him because he was exhausted.
I like the body triangle, but if you hold it for too long, man.
Your legs can't even walk.
You get jello legs.
Yeah, I know.
I held that shit before, and then they got out, and I was like, fuck.
So that's what I'm saying, bro. So I was like, ah, man. And I was like, thank God he did, because I thought I was going to get finished for sure. So I was like, beat it. Oh my God. Like I went off. Second round, blood all over my face because of his blood. And I was like, ugh. It was like crazy fight. And I ended up finishing him. And then the next day I go to my girl's brother's wedding.
Yeah, black
with
eyes
a suit.
or
no, thank God I did it. No.
Up on the back of your head.
No. Why? Of course, there's always bruises, right? Yeah. But I never had that, like, knock on wood, you know. But I never got cut. I never got like a crazy eye or anything from a fight.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you know.
I never got it, but in the gym I got cut.
Yep, gym for me too. Yeah. Gym right here. Yeah. I think it was right here. It was a lot of the gym ones. That's what happened to me. I got fucking caught up more in the gym. I was talking about you
the other day with one of my employees.
Were you?
Do you remember that? What was he?
The Russian? Yeah. Yeah.
He bullying me all that week.
Yeah, I was like, boy, I was ready to beat his ass, bro. And then I got cut and they won't let me fight him again. I was so pissed, bro. I was so pissed. But that was like that. I went to the wedding and then like I was just back to back fighting. And I remember going into like 5-1. 5-0 as a pro, 5 finishes. And then I remember that Minnesota one, That was my 5th fight for LFA. I went in and they called me. They were like, hey, fight in Minnesota this day. I was like, yeah, no problem. Against a tough guy. It was supposed to be like their Minnesota hometown and all that. We took it. We were like, yeah, let's do it. And then I remember 5 days before the fight, he pulled out. And then Mark was like, I'm not flying out. Me and Youssef were not flying out until you find me an opponent. They couldn't find an opponent until the day we were supposed to, the night before we were supposed to fly. They found us an opponent. And then I go in there, finish the dude. No, I mean, he almost finished me. Let's just make that clear. I almost like shake your legs and everything. And I was like, holy shit. And then I ended up finishing him. I choked him out. And then I know they had a show 7 weeks later, 6 weeks later in Denver. So I ended up headlining that show actually in LFA. Excuse me. But I had a close fight and lost a split decision. And they were saying supposedly like that was supposed to be the UFC after that one. But I lost a split decision. A lot of people say you won that fight. A lot of people didn't, whatever, lost a split decision. And then I actually switched my management team then, that day, because we were just not happy. I was not happy. I was not getting what I wanted and all that stuff, But he's a great dude though, I'm still talking to him and all that stuff. But that was that. And I switched management team 24 hours before the fight. 24 hours before the fight, like after the weigh-ins. Switched the management team. So that was fucking wild, bro. It was the craziest shit.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, man, we went, lost out one, and then I took another fight, probably one of the biggest 45ers I ever fought. Lost that one too, close decision. Just, the guy just shot double leg and couldn't finish it, but he just stayed on the wall. Because, bro, he was so, super strong and, bigger than me. I lost that one, so I'm like, fuck, man. I don't know. Because they were saying Contender Series was after that one.
And then you lost again.
Lost again.
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
So I was like, fuck, And then I decided to go to Morocco. So me and my wife, I moved out of my dad's house. We got married. I moved out. We did it the traditional way. You get married, then move together.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that type of deal. I mean, we didn't mean to do it. We just happened to do it.
It worked out.
That's why I called out like, yeah, we did tradition. I was like, no, you didn't. It just came to your plate. So we, so we moved into this. Man, he was like, bro, it was paying like $900 a month. And it was like prison though, bro. It had no windows. It had one window was under the stairs. And then the other window was behind the tree, bushes, and an electric box. That's it. No light. There's no light. The kitchen was this small. Me and my girl, I have to get out, tell her to get out so I can go in to cook.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how crazy it was. Me and my girl went through it, man. It was to have the life we have now, and then we had this. It's a blessing in the sky, but it's it wasn't easy. I'll tell you that. But yeah, so that was the kitchen. That was literally the kitchen, and me and her, I remember. Her family got us this couch for $500. They were like, all right, man, we got a bed.
How'd you ask her to marry you?
Oh, bro. So I told her, I was like, it was in my basement. And I was like, I'm a very committed person. I commit to, if I do something, I just commit to it. I'm like,
yeah,
you fuck me over, you fuck me over. It is what it is. I was never that person let me see how this goes. Let me try this out.
Blah, your heart on your sleeve.
Yeah, I was just, you're in, foot on the gas, right? You get older, you get more mature, you start taking stuff easy sometimes, slowly and all that stuff, but not really. Not till this day. I'm still I commit to whatever I do. Whatever it is, I'm just gonna fuck it. Hope for the best. Let's go, Yeah. But, so that was us meeting together, but I was I think it was after a year. I go downstairs and I was talking to her and I was like, hey man, just FYI, I have no papers. I was clearly honest. I have no papers, no this, no that. I was like, I have to marry. Like, I have to marry somebody. And I told her, I was like, I would love to marry you because you're my actual girlfriend, you know? So she's like, like, kind of think about it and all this. And I remember, I think it was like a few months later, 6 months later, I go down in the basement and I basically, she kind of said, sure, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for it. Yeah. And then when I saw that, I brought this ring from Etsy. It's like $500. It was a glass sea or something like that. She loves the sea. So, and I remember going to my dad's basement, proposing to her when she was in my bed. And I just literally got on my knees. She just started crying and all that. And it was like, that was me proposing to her. I was like, would you marry me?
Got down on the knees.
Yeah, I know. I swear to God, bro. It was wild. Nobody's watching, just me and her.
Yeah, private
so
moment.
Yeah, so it was like a memory I always remember. And then she always remember. And I remember we go to Denver court and we literally sign the papers and we go outside and her best friend come out, take pictures for us. Remember we had my dog too. It was like taking a picture. Yeah, that's how I proposed to my wife, you know. And we're actually going on 6 years right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was 6 years together, and I mean it'll be 7 years together in April.
Yeah, 6 years.
But 6 years married.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how I proposed to my wife.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Good.
It was wild. Yeah, I remember we did that, and she used to work at this company. She got laid off, and then Mark talked to me about like, hey, like about Kat working here, and I was like, yeah, she'd be great. And then
Oh yeah, I remember.
she started working there, and then so I remember me and her were both working there. We still at that apartment, and then we started making some okay money, you know. It was like this and that. And then I told, after my second loss, I was 5-2. I told her, I was like, we're going to Morocco. And that was the first time I went to Morocco in 10 years.
You saw your mom?
For the first time.
Wow.
10 years. It was me and my wife. And then my sister and my mom picked us up from the airport.
Is the waterworks going?
Oh, bro. I told her, I was like I remember, so in Morocco, the airport had the doors, they were open and you can see who's coming in. So for some reason they opened up and I was right there. She fucking lost it, bro. My mom lost it.
I bet.
Started screaming and fucking just yelling. Oh my God. I was like, I just didn't know what to do. And, you know, and I was like, it was rough. You know, it's like it was tears on tears and tears and tears. And we both, oh my God, my wife started crying too.
She's like,
yeah, so she met my family for the first time, like my mom and my sister for the first time. Yeah, you know. So, but yeah, so I just said,
that was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, oh, bro, what do you talk about? You know, when a lot of people be like, you don't know, you're holding too much pressure and too much shit in your body. It's like all that was just let go. Like, I didn't give a fuck. Yeah, I didn't give a fuck about fighting. I really didn't care about life. All I cared about was, like, I mean, not care about life. Like, all I cared about is that life. That's it. Yeah. I didn't care about any other life. I didn't care about my fighting life, my nothing. All I cared about was that life for that moment. Right, yeah. So I was like, wow, bro, that was, you talk about a relief. That was a relief, you know?
Yeah, I bet.
Like, to come in and be like, man, I'm here to see my mom. I'm here to introduce her to my wife and all that. So I remember a weekend, I get a call. So before I went to Morocco, I was supposed to fight in LFA, but they canceled the whole card. So me and Brandon were literally, he was the main event, I was the co-main. We're sitting there, we were like, bro, we 12 weeks into dieting, cutting weight. I was going down to 35 for the first time, all this stuff. And then I remember they had a problem with the TV production. They were with Access TV, but the contract came up and they didn't renew. So they were just coming in. They're like, we're not going to shoot. We're not going to have fights without fucking TV. So I remember they called us and they're like, fights is canceled. So I remember I called Brandon. I was like, bro, I'm eating right now. So I went on. My girl made pancakes with Reese's Pieces. I'm talking like I was on a sugar dose, bro. I was just eating. And then I get a call again. He's like, hold on, don't eat.
I just ate.
Bro, it's too late, bro. I'm already 5 pancakes deep, bro. I was like, yeah, you messed up. So I called Brandon again. I was like, you sure too? I was like, yeah, I already done, bro. I already ate. So I remember that's when I was like, fuck it, I'm going to Morocco. That's when we made that decision. It was after that. Because I was like, I'm not going to wait.
Yeah.
So I remember it was like a week in. I was like, I get a call. And they're like, hey, they want you to fight in LFA in 2 weeks. Or 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks. I was like, okay, sure, yeah. I literally hanged the phone. Did not give a fuck about fighting again. Just went back to my family.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it. So I remember a week after we had to go. I had to go, come back here. And, you never get enough. Especially for the first time, man.
Yeah.
It was, oh. So I remember coming back here. And I had a week to train and a week to cut weight.
Oh, God.
And I had to cut a lot of weight.
You were probably on vacation.
Oh, bro. I didn't give a fuck. As soon as they told me you're fighting, I hanged the phone and went ate sweets right after. I was like, fuck you guys. I'm not doing this. Like, literally, that was my whole motto. And to be honest, bro, I come back and it was at catchweight 140. The best fight of my life. I had the best performance of my life, too. I went in, knocked the kid out in the first round, flying knee knockout. Yeah. Next day, I wake up, sports top 10, ESPN Sports top 10. You name it, you top of the world. So I'm just back to training, doing my thing, and waiting for an opportunity. We're probably going to fight for LFA again. And I remember, so I'm 6-2 now in my pro career. And me and my wife, finally, I was like, fuck it, we staying active. And I remember we moved in from that apartment to the last apartment before I bought my house. And bro, when you start doing good in life, and then you can see the things changing slowly. Oh, bro, we had so many windows in the apartment, bro. We had light coming in. We got lights. That's exactly what I told her, bro. I went into my girl. We started talking. We were like, oh my God. Like, started touching each other's hands, like high-fiving each other. We're like, man, look at us. Like,
if you go on my Instagram, this summer I went back to my hometown neighborhood, and I went to every single house that I lived in. And I took photos and I put it into a video, and it was so humbling, bro.
Bro, I'm telling you that's every time I go to Morocco, that's what happens to me every time. I'm like, I come back motivated than like it's crazy, and then like I just see what the life that I had, and like the humble moments that you like, you take it deep to the heart, bro. It's like. Yeah, like bro. That shit is life changing, bro. It's like I don't think people understand that until they go through it, and then you come in and you go back to that, like you forget. Like I always tell, like me and my girl, we always tell this each other. We always tell like, you see people complain about this and this and that. They don't have enough this, enough that. I'm like in my head, and I was like, bitch. Not a lot of people have anything like that. You should see what other people have. And I'm like, you'll be super grateful for the things you have, And I was like, holy shit, like that shit hits different, man.
It does.
But I agree with you 100%.
I was down there and I was just going through the neighborhood, man, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I made it out of here. Like,
and that was that. Like we went into that apartment and we were like, holy fuck, like. More bills.
But better.
Yeah. Like you said. So it was like, I remember still like, we're still looking for an LFA fight, right? 6-2. And then I remember coming into the gym. He was like, coach was like, stay ready. I was like, coach, I've been ready. What are you talking about? He's like, no, I'm for real. Like, your name is getting tossed around in the UFC. And I was like,
what?
I was like, stop bullshitting, bro. Don't bullshit me. My last fight was catch weight. It was not even an actual weight. What are you talking about? He was like, I'm telling you, stay ready. Bro, he was not bullshitting. Like, 2 weeks later, my manager FaceTimes me. And I was like, this motherfucker never FaceTimes me. What the fuck you want? FaceTimes me and just had the biggest smirk in his face. He said, you're in. I was like,
what you mean I'm in?
I was like, shut the fuck up. No way. He's like, no, I'm for real. You're in. You're fighting next week. And I was like,
Wow.
bro, when I said I dropped my phone and just got down on my knees and fucking everything, I was speechless. And my girl, my wife, it didn't hit her until like 5 minutes into the fucking conversation, bro. It's crazy. She literally, I'm not even messing with you. She's sitting right here like this. And I'm right here. She's looking at me. This is her emotions like this. Confused as fuck. And then, bro, she finds out, like, I was like, no, we're actually in the UFC.
Yeah.
Bro, she did fucking runs around the apartment, bro. Running. 5 minutes in, like, not even right away. Like, you know, people right away like, oh, no, it took her as much as it hit me, too. I was like, nah, bro, you playing, bro, stop. And I was like, that's like, I thought he was playing with me, bro. I thought they were like doing jokes or some shit, but it was like, for real. So I was like, holy fuck, bro. I started jumping. He was like, give me this, give me that. I'm going to get you all the medicals done and all this. And I was like, fuck yeah. And then it was the first time ever in the UFC. It was like debut versus debut guy. Both of us just got into the UFC. Mm-hmm. And I cornered against that guy, against Phil.
Oh, Phil fought him.
Bro, the craziest fight I ever seen in my life.
Oh.
I wish somebody has a video of this fight because this fight was nuts. Nuts. I never seen the fight like that, bro. I was like, holy shit. Like, so I was already like scared and nervous, right? I was like, fuck, you know? I was like, I'm already worried. And I was like, oh.
This dude's an animal.
Bro, they said, even in the UFC, they said 3 fights combined, it's 1 minute. Or 4 fights combined. I swear to God, that's the breakdown. They even asked me that in the interview. Like, he's a finisher. Did you know this and that? And I was like, no, I know he's a finisher. I was like, wow, thank you for telling me this. I didn't know he's a fucking 60 seconds. And then I remember Mark was not on the phone. He was doing a private. So I come home. I mean, to come to the gym. And I walked out. You know Jordan Kurtz, comic peanut guy? Yeah. Yeah, I walked up to him and I told him, we were in. He started fucking hyped, touched me up, all that. And then Mark was over there and I walked up to him. I was like, yeah, coach, they went with somebody else, bro. They found somebody else. He's like, it's all right. Your time is coming. Like, trust me. And then out of nowhere, I was like, no, fuck no, we in, dog. And then he started picking me up and then like jumping and all that. Bro, when I say my phone went from, I think I was at 5,000 followers after I fought. When I got to the UFC, I was at 15 the first 2 days. Damn. After I fought, I was at 35.
Wow. Your eyes
immediately. I was like, holy shit. Like, this is wild, bro, you know? But that was my UFC debut. Like, I remember, I swear to God, I remember walking out of the tunnel and then just literally being a kid, like, lost. I was just like,
fanboying.
Bro, that was my walkout. I'm walking out to a fight. Yeah. And I was like,
oh yeah, I'm fighting. Let me get back.
Oh my God. I was like, this is what I'm about to do, you know? And I was like, I remember that, bro. That was the coolest feeling I ever had in my life. And
it was proof buffs. Or?
Yeah. I remember the fist pump. They even the UFC posted it. They said, your first fist pump and all that. Oh man, that was calling my name. I know my dad's over there. He came all the way to Vegas and I was like seeing the success actually come into life, you know? And then I went in and I did, man, we performed, you know? And the rest was history for sure, but it was, I go on in a 3-winning streak. So I got in right before COVID. So it was February I got in, and I think March, May was COVID. That's when the lockdown happened and all this, and I was like, holy shit. Like, we just got into the UFC, and then this happened, you know? And I was like, man, my wife was kind of going through the same thing too. She just had a new job, and then she was kind of worried because she didn't get the offer letter, and she was like freaking out because she was like, well, COVID is like now. So she literally got it, and then the lockdown happened. She even had to text the hiring manager. She was like, I still have a job, right? She was like, yeah, you do. You're fine. So I was like, thank God. Like, bro, when I'm saying it was locked down, we couldn't train. So we're literally just hanging out at the house. I'm playing Call of Duty like in a big screen for like hours and hours and not end. And me and my girl watch movies. And out of nowhere, coach was like, fuck this. We're not doing this. We were training.
Yeah, we didn't miss much training during that. I don't
Coach was
remember
like,
missing.
Coach was like, fuck no. I think it was like a few days, and coach was like sick of it. Coach was like, no, we're not doing this anymore.
I would have said
yeah,
maybe 2 or 3 days.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Coach was like, nah, we're not doing this. Hell no, we training. And then that's when everybody was like showed up, and I remember, oh my God, the first day we showed up, he made a spar for 45 minutes straight.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my God. Me and Chris, bro. Chris hated it too. Chris was like, it was so out of shape. He came in and I just stayed on him too. And he was like, and coach was pissed too, bro. And I remember, like we went straight back to training. And I was like, coach was not playing around. He was like, no, we were training. And which is, it really did put he was smart about doing that, because a lot of people got into the UFC because of that from our team. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was super active, bro. I fought 2 fights in 1 month.
Yeah.
So I go on a 3-0 winning streak in the UFC.
So you're 9-1 at the time?
Yeah.
That was a quick 10.
No, 9-2.
9-2. That was 8-2.
8-2.
That was
yeah.
a quick 10. Like, was
well, 9-2. Yeah, 9-2. 9-2. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was quick.
I mean, it wasn't even 2 years.
Bro, my whole pro career was so quick.
Right?
It was back to back, back to back, back to back, back to back.
What kind of mentally stressed or strained is that? Does it build confidence, or does it like?
No, bro, it was super stressful that we came up with the decision that my girl can't work at the gym no more, because it was so stressful for both of us to be 24/7 around fighting.
Yeah.
Like we can't.
Yeah.
Like you got to learn the balance between, okay, this is my partner, this is my best friend, this is my coworker, this is my like, you had to learn all that. It's like we had to balance it, and like the relationship was going downhill. Like every time we come in, it's like this.
Yeah.
We were like, no way.
Fight,
yeah, because bro, it's so much stress involved, you know?
Yeah.
So we were like, no. That's why she ended up working in a different job, because there's no way. We're not doing it, you know? But yeah, so it was like very super stressful.
All right, back at you from our break. I'm with our guest today, Youssef Zalal. It's just a little quick recap. He's telling us about his life and about how he's became a mixed martial artist and a cage fighter. He's from Casablanca, Morocco.
Yes, sir.
The White City.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he came here at 13 years old, and somehow he learned English in 6 months because he has a big brain.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that.
He's been training kickboxing since he was 10 years old.
Yeah.
And he eventually moves on into the martial arts. He turns pro, and he has like all these fights within a few months. You know, it's so stressful. Almost breaks up his marriage with all the stress that it puts. That's how she ends up leaving the
Factor
gym.
X, yeah.
The gym.
Especially after the 2 losses too.
Yeah, it's just so much. I can remember going to fights and being like so terrified that I hope somebody hits me in the car, or I hope I get injured, or
No, damn.
I'll be on the way there. I'll be like, man, I hope somebody wrecks my ass so I don't have to do this. So I couldn't imagine every other week. Other week.
It's rough, bro. It gets up on you, and obviously you learn from it, right? And you start balancing your life, but yeah, it sucks.
Right?
It's terrible. It's terrible.
That's got to be tough.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So when we left off, you're in Morocco to visit your mom. Everything's great. You're not worried about anything, but that time and that moment in life, being with your mom after not seeing her for 10 years, was it right?
Yeah, 10 years.
Wow, it's so long. It's so long.
Yeah, I don't know how I did it, but somehow it happened. But yeah, it's 10 years, and that was the first time seeing her. So I still remember that moment. It's stamped in my heart.
I bet. Yeah. We got to get her here.
For sure. Yeah. We're working on it right now. We're working on it right now. So,
Yeah. So
we'll
you
see.
come back and then you get the call from the UFC. Tell me about that again.
So I go in and fought for LFA, had my
Oh, that's right. Tell me
flying
about
knee
that.
knockout.
That's right. Tell me about that.
I just didn't give a shit, you know. I was just like, the fighting was.
Was
like,
that in the Minnesota guy?
No. This was in Denver, First Bank Center.
140?
140 catch weight. I go in and took the fight. Didn't care. It was like, fuck making weight, fuck all this, like all that. But obviously, I made weight, you know, because Mark would not let you not make weight. Trust me, because if you guys know anything about Mark Montoya, that's not happening.
Yeah.
So I come back and I literally had 1 week of training and then 1 week of fight week. So I was definitely not the best shape I was in, but I always had the mentality was like, I don't care. I'm usually better shape than most people, to be honest. I'm not trying to sound cocky or anything.
Did you train 365?
Yeah. So I was like, whatever, you know. But like I said, man, when I hang up that phone, I was straight to sweets right after that. I was like, I did not care. I was eating cake, pastries, and because in Morocco, bro, they have homemade stuff right in the like right at the store. You go in.
What's Moroccan food like?
Oh, bro, it's a lot of stew meat, a lot of grains, bread every day.
Do you know how to cook?
Oh, I love cooking, bro. That's my hobby. Yeah, I love cooking. My hobby is playing Call of Duty and cooking. That's it.
You cook Moroccan food for your wife?
Yeah, oh yeah. No, sometimes, but you know, obviously, it all depends on what weight I'm fighting at or what.
Shit.
Yeah, so I can't just be cooking, you know, because again, everything with Morocco foods is with bread. So there's no way I can make weight.
Yeah.
So I can't be doing that.
Yeah,
So,
it's the worst diet for a fighter, huh?
yeah, pastry, sweet. So I can't be doing that. So
You'd be a
even my
middleweight.
family, even my family hates it. Sometimes they come in and be like, yeah, we don't have that. We don't have that. We don't have this. So, but yeah, man, I was like, I fought that fight, and then I think it was like, I don't know if it was 9 months later, the UFC call came around, and I remember, like I said, man, it was. I was speechless. My wife took her like 5 minutes to even catch on that I was in the UFC.
Yeah, you said she ran around.
No,
the room.
she ran the house like circles. So she was like, she couldn't believe it. So she was like, "Oh my God, like we actually going to Houston?" I was like, "No, yeah, we are." And fighting at the Toyota Center. And like I said, that fight was amazing. And then that's when COVID happened after that. So everything locked down, we're closed down. And then we literally went there and like sitting there like, am I still in the UFC? Is the UFC even gonna be on? And
what's going on?
And that's when it took like a few months, and then the UFC came up with the like closed bubble and all this stuff they did. So I ended up being on I went on a 3 winning streak. So I was 3-0 going into the UFC. I think it was
Did you fight during COVID?
Twice.
What was that like with no audience?
Oh, the weirdest thing I ever done in my life.
Was it?
Oh my God. So silent, so awkward, like staying in your room, can't get out of your room, get tested this day, the next day you get tested again, you get tested every day. Yeah, it was crazy. But again, you had your team, you had your support and all that stuff. So kind of makes it a little bit better, you know, but
You could hear everything.
oh my, you can hear the breathing, which is even scarier, bro. It's like a movie. You feel like you're in a movie, you know. You're like the guy's breathing so heavy, you're breathing so heavy. You hear the commentators talking, so it's wild, man. It's like, what is?
You hear the commentators?
Oh yeah, you can hear every single thing you can hear.
Oh wow.
So yeah, man. So I go on. I fought twice in the Apex, and then my 4th fight in the UFC, I get a call. They're like, "Hey, you're gonna fight in Abu Dhabi," and I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm down," you know. But they said you're on a lockdown,
Oh man.
so the whole Abu Dhabi's locked down. And then I remember going in there. Brandon just fought. Jonathan Martinez just fought. I followed them the next week after they fought. So Mark stayed in that island for a month. My head coach stayed there for a month. So I showed up there, and bro, when I say the worst experience, I was there for 4 days by myself in the room.
Oh man.
By myself.
Just there.
Just there. Just sitting there not doing shit. So I hated it, bro. And my opponent switched on me when I was in the plane to Abu Dhabi. They called me. They're like, hey, the opponent switched. And that's when I fought Ilia Topuria, which potentially he's going to fight for the belt next.
Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy to me. I was going in there. That was my actual first loss. And then, that was my third loss, but
I know what you mean.
I felt like that was my actual loss. The other two fights were way too close. Could win anyway, but that was my actual loss. And I was like, fuck. I was sad and it's almost like I got like complacent in a way, So I go on in a 3 losing streak. So I'm 3-3 in the UFC, going into my 7th fight, which is last year actually in August. Happened last year. I go in. I'm training for a year. Stay ready, stay ready, stay ready. That's all I hear. Stay ready, stay ready. So I'm like, fuck, man. Okay. Keep training. Out of nowhere, they call me 1 week. You got to fight 135. I was like, all right, fuck it. Let's do it. I go in, and then I have a draw. I had a draw in my last fight on my contract. So they ended up not renewing, and I ended up releasing out of the UFC. So, life started hitting you a little bit, right? You're like, well, now you're not making as much money. Now you're not in the UFC no more.
Does that hurt your confidence?
Definitely hurt a little bit, right? It's like, especially the first few weeks, right? And then you're like, you look at it, it's like you chose this life. You made the choices you made. So, but that's when the maturity came along and like growth came along. That's when I came in and I was like, really start breaking down my career and what I've done wrong, what I've done right, what do I need to work on, type of deal. So that's like, it was a lot speaking to myself. It made me realize a lot of things that I've done. Like that's when I said plateauing. I was not growing. I was not doing a lot of stuff that I was supposed to do, So it opened up my eyes to a lot of things, right? But while in the UFC, me and my wife finally got my whole dream was since a kid was to buy a house, especially growing up in the United States. The second half of my life, I was like, buy a house. That was my number one goal. No matter what, buy a house. And then the first time we actually started looking at a house, we didn't have that much capital, right? We had I think it was 15 grand saved up. That's it. And then we were looking, nothing. After the UFC, I had some money and all this going, right? And then I told my girl, I was like, let's look for a house again. So 6 months later, and then a year later, then we started looking for a house again. Go through the process. It took us a month. And that's when it was buyer's market too. And, bro, it took us a month. We looked at about 40 houses. And we found one. We took it. We got a chance to take it. We took it. And when I say that was the craziest moment of my life, till this day I remember, it's like wow, you do achieve your dreams. Like when you keep pushing for it, And that was, so after I got my house, obviously, that's when I got released from the UFC. So you have the highs, and then the lows, So I was like, I tell people, I'm like shit.
Were you concerned about your market?
Oh, for sure. I was concerned about life. I was concerned about a lot of things, right? But at the beginning, I stopped worrying about everybody else and what everybody else thinks of me and all that. And I was like, at the end of the day, it's like, I know there's people with me and the people that love me, and that's all matters. That kind of mentality, And I was like, went in, and it took me a minute to really kind of get my shit together in kind of sense, right? I tell people, it's like my talent was right here, my confidence was right here. you know. So to match my confidence with my talent, it's a whole new phase I hit, to be honest. And I came out, first fight out of the UFC, I fought the guy that beat my teammate, which he just got out of the UFC, and he beat him. So the guys already have like high confidence. Like he already beat a UFC vet. He already beat my teammate. He's going to go through me, walk through me, all that. He was the number one in Colorado, all that. I go in, and you know when you can tell, you just have one, experience in your side, and two, the confidence, like it almost just broke him. Just he knows how confident I was. And bro, when I say I went into that fight, I didn't care about what everybody thinks of me. I really didn't think about what everybody's opinion of me. I just didn't care. I was like, in my head, I was like, you know how they say, like, man, this guy was fighting in front of millions. Now he's fighting in front of hundreds and locally. And we didn't even have a mat space in the back to warm up. And you go from organized.
Yeah, there's levels.
You know, so, but I didn't let that get to me at all. You know, I was like, this is my job. I'm going to go perform and go on. And man, the rest was history from there, man. I went in and I literally just showed levels to this game. I really did. And I showed that I'm completely different, not just a fighter, a completely mentally fighter as well, you know? And that was my first fight. Go in, smoke this kid, finish him in the first round. And then second fight later is almost back to back almost, you know? I go in, same thing. The guy fought for the LFA belt, took the guy to the fourth round, like tough kid, finished him in the first round. And then we were like, holy shit, like, okay. And then that's when we started like having a hard time finding people to fight us. Couldn't find nobody to fight us. I told him, I was like, I do not care. I'll go fight for 1,000. And I'm talking, you go fighting from 10 and 10,000, 10,000, 24,000, 24,000. You fight for 1,000, 1,000. You know, you're like, 2,000. I was like, I didn't care. Just find me somebody that will take the fight because I will show you how good I am and like how better I am than all these guys. And this Sparta tournament came out of nowhere. It was like Caruso, which is one of our teammates, one of the coaches, hit me up and he was like, hey, there's this Sparta tournament. It's at 145. It's a tournament. You fight 3 times in one night. I was like, yeah, I know. Like, Dustin Jacoby fought in it. And I was there. And I was like, bro, this is the craziest shit. I'm never doing this. I'm never doing this. In my head, I was like, I'm never doing this. So he's like, bro, to be honest, like, we can't find nobody to fight you. And everybody wants that fight because the prize is 10,000. So people just want to jump in on that.
Try to get the money.
To get the money. And I was like, fuck it. It's my opportunity. Let's take it. I'm not going to say no to this. I'm going to take this opportunity. It might not make sense, but I'm taking it.
Yeah.
You know? And so they gave us I was the number 1 seed.
Oh.
And then I was supposed to fight the number 8 seed.
Yeah.
So the number 8 seed, we thought it was a kickboxer. And then out of nowhere, 2 weeks before, they switched it.
Oh.
Or no, not 2 weeks before, like 5 weeks before. They switched it, and they switched it to an actual boxer.
For a boxing match.
So, for people who don't know, it's 3 fights. First one is boxing rules only. It was 3 3-minute rounds, all boxing. And then you take like literally, I was first, had 3 more fights. Then I go again, kickboxing. After the kickboxing, there's 10 fights, and then I'm the main event for the MMA for the finale. So I'll go in, bro. I was so nervous. The guy's an amateur, like he had all amateur career in boxing.
Wow.
He's 1 and 2 in boxing, pro boxing. So I was like, even though he has a losing record, I was still that's his world.
He only has 3 fights. Yeah.
So I was terrified. You know, I was like, I have 0 fights in boxing. 0 fights. And I go in and I'm like, bro, I'm scared, this and this and that. But again, I went back to, okay, my experience and then my confidence, rely on those. And I picked 1 word every fight. I'll pick 1 word, and then that word for mine was outclassing everybody. And then I went in, bro. When I'm saying I felt my groove after the first round, man, I went off on this kid, bro. I took it so personal. I was so pissed because the guy never had an MMA fight or a kickboxing fight.
Here he is with you.
And he wanted to do this. I felt disrespected. I was like, how are you going to disrespect me and go past me and trying to go for the 10,000 when you never had an MMA or kickboxing fight?
Yeah.
So I took it like very personal. You know, I was
making
like,
his debut if he passed you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I took it very personal, bro. I was like, this is not happening. I'm not letting this happen.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got in, like I said, I went on a roll. I was like going. Boom, first fight. And I asked Dustin, I asked him, I was like, bro, how did you feel in your fights? Because he won it.
Yeah.
He was like, bro, trust me, you win the first one, you feel unstoppable. And he was not lying. When I say I won the first one, I felt unbreakable. I was like, and then I like, okay, the first one was done. And then we literally go sit down, take the gloves off, sit down, get ready for kickboxing, and watch all the 3 fights because we're going to see who we're going to fight next.
Yeah.
So I didn't know who we were going to fight next until we got to watch it.
That's who wins.
So I knew I was going to fight next. Okay, cool. I have it in my head. Boom, done. I go in. He just fought last. And he literally...
He's tired as shit.
He only had 15 minutes and then he's going again. So I'm warming up in the back and I'm like going in. This kid's a 55er fighting at 45. Bro, I go into that first round. I got hit so hard. I was like, holy shit. But I was like, the thoughts in my head going to like, holy shit, you might be finished for the first time in your career. And I was no. Swear to God, like going in my head and I was like, oh, fuck no. Experience, confidence, outclass. I go in, finished the kid, dropped him in the first round and then finished him in the second. Nice. And I told everybody, I was like, I'm going to finish him in the second. And then the last fight was against a kickboxer. That's the main event. We were like, we got it done. We watched who we were gonna fight because the next fight was the semifinals. So we knew who we were gonna fight. And I went in and we watched it. We knew who exactly would go. We went back and we were like, that guy never fought MMA. It's first MMA fight.
Yeah.
But he had like 60 kickboxing fights or something like that. Sport. Yeah, I know. So that's like in my head, I was like, this is the time to use your IQ, your experience, all this. I was 13-5-1. Now I'm 13-5-1 in MMA. So I have a lot of experience. So I was like in my head, I was like, you're more experienced than this kid. So everybody thought I was gonna strike with him, and I was like, no. First 2 minutes, take him down, and I was like, nope, not happening. And I ended up finishing him, and I got my finish, and I won this King of Sparta. Did you have? Head and arm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, head and arm. So it was when do I recommend this to everybody? Fuck no. When I say I made a memory in my fighting career, 100%. This is like a memory I would never forget. Like, I trained so hard for these fights and like game planned so hard and did all this because I was so nervous. I was so scared. So it forced me to really work so I can perform. Because what I think happened, like I told you guys, in the UFC career, I got plateaued. Like, I was not growing.
Yeah.
But like when out of the UFC, it's almost like a blessing, to be honest. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. It's like, I know a lot of people don't hate to say that, like, well, you got out of the UFC, how's that a blessing, But I was like, for me, it was like a really blessing to find my mind.
Yeah.
So that kind of really cleared my mind, and for me to show that there is levels to this, even though they think, oh, he's gonna kill this guy, he's gonna kill this, that. I'm like, for me, that pressure was on, It's like everybody knows you're good, but it all matters is what your last fight, and what matters is how you perform, So no matter how many friends I have and tell me how good I am, it doesn't matter, It's like you got to go and perform, and you got to do it. Yeah, So there was that pressure, and then getting comfortable with that pressure, but it was like a blessing, like I said, to really be in that world and like understand, like, be honest with myself. That's one, right? Like, I had to be really honest with myself. Like, you're plateauing. You're the one who fucked up. Yeah. Not everybody else. You're the one who fucked up. Blame you. And then that's what I did. I really went hard on myself. And after few months, went back to what I do best and fight and go back to enjoying the winning, as like feel those moments again. I know what it feels to win. I know what it feels to lose, and then I know what it feels to get cut. So I went through all emotions and emotions and emotions, but I think it made us a better fighter and a better human being, to be honest. So that was the up and down in my career towards the end of it. And to be honest, I'm like, a lot of people do this like when they get older in their career, and a lot of people don't realize like I'm only 27. I just turned 27 like last week.
You're not even in your prime.
I know. So I was like, a lot of people are like saying that. Like I was supposed to get called for that Ultimate Fighter, the vets versus the new upcoming.
Yeah.
And then I told him, I was like, so what am I? Am I a vet or upcoming? He's like, no, you're a vet because you fight in the UFC. But I was like, that's crazy. I'm like younger than like by but like so many, so long. But yeah, man, it's a wild story, and I can't wait to show people the comeback story, and then really not just change my life and change my, not just my dreams, and change my like my personal opinion of me, or my thought of me, and all these things that I thought it was not doable, or you're done, you should just quit, you should just reconsider something else, and all this stuff. That's what I'm waiting to. Again, I'm like, prove it to yourself. Like I don't need to prove it to anybody else, and that's where I'm at right now.
That sounds. But people don't. And you tell me if you think I'm correct. Just to give people an example, you could have two fighters, and you could say one of the fighters is just super talented, and then he fights a guy who is mediocre talented. But the guy who is mediocre talented is beaming with confidence, and the guy who is super talented is doubting himself. Who wins that fight?
Confident kid.
The confidence is so, and fighting people like, for example, you fighting 3 times one night. When UFC first came out, the Don Fry and all, that's what they did. And when you hear that at home, you probably don't. You think, oh, he just boxing. You don't realize the wear, the tear, the stress.
Bro, my body's still messed up right now, bro. I still think like I'm trying to get rid of the stress. I'm like, oh my God. Like you go like, people don't, it's like a drug. It's really a drug. Like the emotions that it was so high that I went home, I ate so much food and I passed out because my emotions were so high and the stress about it for 7 weeks.
Getting ready.
7 weeks. I've been stressing about this. 7 weeks. Nervous as shit. And bro, the crazier part is the only thing that was in my head was like, you lose, you make no money. Yeah. You lose your first fight, you make $0.
Oh no.
Literally, that's what it was. I was like, I'm not fighting for free. That's not happening. And I remember my coaches told me that in the corners, like, you're not fighting for free. And I thought in my head, I was like, I'm not fucking fighting for free. I'm making my money. And then if you lose the second fight, you only make like $700, $800. So I'm like, no, not happening. I was like, I'm making my fucking money. I'm making my family, like I'm making my ends meet. Trust me, I'm not.
They bring out one of those big old checks.
I still have it at the house.
Do they?
And I had this dope ass axe, bro. They gave me an axe.
Oh, really?
Like handmade. This guy makes him handmade. He carved the Sparta logo on it. It says champion and Sparta. And oh my God, bro. I'm gonna hang it up and all that stuff. But yeah, that's, like I said, that's a memory that you always have in your life that you can tell to your kids, you tell to the people and all that stuff. So I'm very happy that I got to experience it and just to show that the different variations of me and the different version of me and the growth and the knowledge that I learned since I got kicked out of the UFC last year. So I'm excited for you guys to see me back at the UFC at the highest level and even a better version of me.
It's for sure gonna happen.
Oh, I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
So before we get into the end of this interview, why don't you give us what's your best gym story?
Oh God,
so many, right?
Oh man. What kind of story we talking?
Anything. It doesn't have to be just any. It could be funny. It could be It could be a fight. It could be funny. It could be training. It could be. What's your best gym story?
Man, bro, there's.
And don't say the time where you came and got me off the guy that was.
Oh, right. I was about to say, I should say that. For people who don't know, this boy liked to go to wars. So I had to save his life because he had a fight 2 weeks later. Yeah, I remember that. That was, oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys would love this story. This is funny, but it was at the COVID hotel, though. But they call it. So if you don't know, I'm a Muslim, right? So pray 5 times a day, right? So my coach, Mark Montoya, my jiu-jitsu coach, already know this. Dustin Jacoby did not know this.
Oh.
He was in the same hotel as us. So he was fighting. Well, I think he fought, and then I was fighting. I can't remember what it was. But, so we have to face Mecca. You always have to face Mecca to pray.
Which way is Mecca?
I just use the app for me, but I think it's north.
Oh.
I think I could be wrong, but I just used the phone right here and found it. So there's the door, living room, there's the other door across, and there's a kitchen because you had to cook for your own because of COVID, where you order food.
Yeah.
So I was like, whatever. So I started praying. So I put the towel as my rug because we have a rug, praying rug. Praying, right? And then USADA comes in at 8 a.m. Knock on the door. Dustin got to get tested. Or I can't remember. So this guy, I'm sitting by the door. Like when I'm praying, you're not supposed to walk by me and leave me alone, right? This guy looked at me. He grabbed me. I was up, about to start. He grabs me. He was like, what the fuck are you doing? So I started dying laughing while I'm praying. I started dying laughing. Coach started laughing. And then everybody started, bro, we went on in like 20 minutes nonstop laugh, bro. Like we're talking about crying, laughing. Yeah, he didn't know I was praying. He's like, I thought he was doing something wrong, like stupid. I was like, bro, he's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, bro, I was fucking praying, bro. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like I started screaming and shit like that, bro. It was the funniest thing. And the coach started dying laughing. And oh man, I'm talking like I swear to God, this story, we still couldn't stop laughing for 20 minutes. The look he gave me and just looked at me.
Confused,
oh, bro, it was the most confusing thing. But oh my God, but like you said, the funny stories at the gym, man. Oh my God, you got. I seen so many people go to wars, and I just be laughing. I'd be, oh my God, like I'm concerned, but I'm like, you guys chose this. I was like, I don't know why you guys do this. I was like, holy shit, and I was like, oh my God, bro. But yeah, that's those. Oh man,
you've had some matches too. You've had some wars too in there.
I think everybody at that gym had wars.
We used to just murder each other.
Bro, I used to be bad. I'm pretty sure, like, we got concussed plenty of times. I'll tell you that.
This is what Mark would say. He would say, y'all don't need to kill each other. You don't mess your teammates up. And then you get in the cage. Hey, I'm good. What are you doing?
Don't be a bitch.
Don't be a bitch.
100%.
Yeah.
Mark wants wars. That's what Mark wants.
And then when you come out, y'all don't hurt each other.
No. No, yeah, man. He doesn't play around, bro. Like,
no, that guy. He changed my life for sure.
Yeah, he knows. He's it's like you say. He's like it's almost like a messenger, if you know what I mean. Like he's meant to guide people and meant to help people, type of deal. You know, there's a lot of people that way. You can tell, just like, okay, like this person is here to help other people, and that's what his purpose meant to be.
I remember when I told him I was going into business, just because I was going to pursue that. He was like, he didn't say anything. He was proud of me. He told me he was proud of me, but I bet you in his mind, he's like, I spent all these years making you a fighter. Now you're ready, and now you're just going to leave.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember that. He was, Mark always feels it. Mark always feels that, because when somebody leaves, it's like, fuck, you know.
Spent a lot of years with that.
Yeah, you know. So, yeah, it's, I mean, I can't even imagine, bro. If I was doing it, I would be stressed as fuck.
Yeah. And the worst thing is if he likes you,
Oh.
It's worse. It's worse. He's gonna be 10 times as hard on you.
Yeah, they'd be like, why is he like talking shit to you like that? I'm like, why you think, bro? I was like, because he wants you to be the best. That's why I was like, if he doesn't know you, like, whatever. He's like, let him do his thing.
So like, I used to think he hated me. So you remember when I came to the X, he made me go to the open classes. I used to stay after and watch the pros and try to sneak into y'all's class and get kicked out. I would tell him every day, put me in there, put me in. And
they did. When he gave you a chance, bro. You were fighting right after too. Yeah. Shit, that's crazy.
And then he put me in, and then remember him writing my name
on the board. Yeah.
And I was like, I did it. I did it. It was.
I think what was the first round? You went to war, wasn't it?
Yeah, I went with me and Jack.
Oh my God. Yeah, because what was it? I mean, I remember when Jack was coming, like they had him. I was not there, but they made him spar for his hair.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, we used to fuck each other up,
bro.
But I miss it. I miss it. I miss going and being around all the guys.
It's that energy, it's different.
And,
it's completely different. I don't think you get it anywhere else.
So like, for example, and you same thing. Like when I have guests over to because for people who don't know, my studio is built in my basement. It's very nice. And when I have guests over, if it's someone who not from like my team, they'll come down here. But when I bring people from my team, like you or Brandon, bro, let me see your house. What's going on in here? And check it out.
Hell yeah, bro. My boy made it, bro. Hell yeah, bro. You gotta enjoy that, dog. Like, it's hard, this road's not easy, So to see your boys make it and then change their life, change their family lives, that shit is motivation, bro. Like, it's like,
it's rough.
It makes you like, holy shit, like, if he can do it, I can fucking do it. I promise you that. You know what I mean? Like, not a lot of people know that. You're like, I come from homeless, didn't have nothing. Now you have a basement. Like, you kidding me? Just you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's humbling, but it's also motivational and like means a lot. I mean, at least to me, fuck, I don't know about other people, but. Yeah. That's awesome, bro. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, you could always tell the people who care about you. You could always see they're happy.
I was like, why would you not be happy for the guy, bro? It's like the guy was working as hard as everybody else. It was like, you can't just go train and go fucking work a job and a business. And
I used to fall asleep in the gym.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm like, and then plus the stress, you're like, you're all stressed out, and you got to focus on fighting and punching the dude in the face. You're like, and then you got to go fight. You're like, all right, bro. Good luck on that. Like, let me see somebody do it, but. Again, bro, that's amazing, bro. That's awesome.
So, the UFC is gonna be calling again pretty soon, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will, man. It's like, again, I told them if they want me to prove it more, I'll prove it more. I fought 5 fights out of the UFC, including the kickboxing and boxing, but I had 3 wins in MMA, 3 finishes. So, but I want to go. I will show you guys when I get back. I get my first finish in the UFC. And then move on and keep going and making a name for myself.
Yeah, that's for sure. What message, this is what I ask everybody, what message do you want to give to, and it doesn't have to be about fighting, but to people watching at home that just listen to your life, and it was very interesting life. What message do you have for them to take into their own life?
Fuck everybody's opinion, I really do believe that. Like, let the experience teach you. Don't stop worrying, and like, be willing to learn from everybody instead of like waiting it to happen to you. Like, learn from everybody else's mistakes and success and you name it, right? And I always say this since I started fighting, since I started doing interviews, pick the right friends. The right friends really do make your future. I do really believe that. Not just in fighting, just in life. Like business, like just financial, like teaching you how to love, teaching you how to really get closer to your family, like all that stuff. I always appreciated my wife for that. Like she taught me like how to be like closer, like show my emotions instead of just hiding my emotions, and like really like eat dinner with your family, call your family. Like it's okay to say I love you. So it's okay to say all this stuff, you know. So it's all, and I'm grateful for like the people that I know, like Mark, my head coach. Now they just taught me the life, and they taught me a lot about the financial part as well. Like not a lot of people know about this. Not a lot of people know about this. Like pay your taxes, focus on your credit, and all this stuff. I didn't realize this stuff until it came time to it, right? So I was like, but I've always stopped worrying, like focusing on, especially when I was in the UFC, I was like, what everybody else thinks of me. Like, what do you think of me? What do you think of me? Like, I hear this guy send this one comment in Instagram. I'm like, oh, like this, and that, you know, and I like kind of like let it drown me down a little bit, you know. So, like I said, man, like fuck everybody what the decision, like what their opinion is. Like, let your experience, like build your own life, build your own experience. Let your own experience teach you, right? You know. But again, it's like your friends, your family will teach you as well. So don't take it for granted, and like make as much as memories in life as you can. That's the other thing, you know. It's like don't let it just drive by like it's nothing. Like if I'm driving by, I'm taking that SSD card with me, you know. I'm making all the memories with me until I die. And that's all I care about, you know. It's like, because my kids, my family, or anybody that when I pass away, they were like, this kid brought memories with us, and they will never forget about you and all that stuff, you know. But that's what we're here for, man. I really do believe that, and choose your friends wisely.
Either swim with the sharks or hang with the guppies.
I never heard that, but goddamn.
You don't want to be a guppy.
Yeah, I don't think I want to be a guppy, dog.
Yeah, swim with the sharks, baby. It was nice talking to you.
No, yeah, thank you for having me, bro. Thank you for having me in this beautiful basement, like you said. Very nice setup. You guys see his games too. This is crazy. But yeah, man. Like I said, man. I remember. I even told him, I was like, the speech. What was it? 84,000.
84,600.
84,600. Yeah, 84. I just remember it. I was like seconds, and we were just talking about it before we started the podcast, and I was like, I remember that. That shit hit different, bro. That shit.
Don't forget.
Like you can tell.
Don't waste your time.
Yeah, you can tell. Like that was from the heart, you know. But that's what I'm saying. It's like you recognize that, and like you're really making memories for yourself, you know, and making your life as happy as you can.
So I just fought. Do you remember that? I had just fought, and I didn't. So stressed out. I didn't write down my speech because Coach told me like a month ahead.
I think he tells everybody.
He told me like a month ahead, and I didn't even write shit down. And I got to the gym, and our jiu-jitsu coach, Busy, was there. I said, hey, I didn't write shit down. I don't know what to do. And he told me, just talk about your life, bro. That's what he told me.
Bro, you killed it, bro. Yeah. That was awesome, bro. That was amazing.
So what I usually do at the end of these shows, I usually go on a little bit of a rant, say some stuff. But today I want to talk to my followers. If we have anybody in the immigration department that is an expert, we want to bring Youssef's mom here. Please DM me, message me, or DM Youssef. Please. You never know. You never know.
That's true. That's true.
You never know. I know thousands of people are going to see this.
That's true, 100%.
And maybe one of those thousands of people could give us a loophole. You never know. It's not right for, you know.
Closed mouths don't get fed.
Her whole family's here, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my brother just went, my sister just went, and I went like 3 months ago. So I try to go back at least once a year.
We're bringing her over.
But yeah, she just wants to come here to see her son. Yeah, her son's graveyard too, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's
what she cares most about.
If y'all were listening, you heard about his brother. That was very traumatic. I'm sorry he had to go through that, Youssef, but let the lady come to see her son's grave.
That's like the
let her come.
The dream we're achieving.
Why are we letting an invisible line, an invisible border, keep somebody from seeing their son? Reach out to me, DM me. It's very important. I really appreciate it. Remember, guys, to keep tuned. If you have a good story and you want to share it with me, and you're interested in making it to the Denver, Colorado area, and you want a platform, and you want to sit here and you want to share your story with the world to maybe make a difference, DM me, reach out to me, we'll get you here, and we'll get you on the podcast. Follow Youssef. I'll put his links below. Make sure you watch all his fights and make sure you support him. Because like I said, and the last time we talked to a fighter, fighting, unfortunately, is not all about talent. It's also about having a following. So everybody go push him over 100,000 followers. Thank you very much for watching, and we out. Peace.
My boy.